Hello everyone, this is Logan59XP here for the first stream in like forever that's not at 6 a.m. or 1 p.m. or whatever the heck the last couple of ones have been. Yeah, we've been doing a fair amount. I think the last time we played a game on stream was, well, the last one of these, and I think that was in like May. So yeah, as the title has said, it's been long enough, I feel. I was tempted to do this yesterday, but I didn't really feel like it. But I figured, you know what? Today's about as good as day as anyway. Of course, today is Spooky Day, although that's not at all why I'm doing it today. But I guess there is that. But essentially, why am I doing this? Because it's been long enough, and I've waited long enough, and I'm in the mood to play it because of Air Riders. So, yeah. So this is actually going to be the very first stream I have done on the Switch 2. Ooh, now obviously the mystique of the Switch 2 is not exactly what it was in June when it first came out, but hey, you can tell it's the Switch 2 because the bubble, the bubble at the bottom, no, the pill at the bottom, because it's now a pill on the Switch 2. You know, that line of icons is different. Well, it's kind of different, because they backport it to the Switch 1, kind of. Whatever. The point is, it's the Switch 2. You can tell it's the Switch 2 because, look, it has the outline. So, yeah, you can see, oh, yeah, here's another thing that tells you it's the Switch 2. Look, GameCube. Hey, look, Mario Kart. That's all proof that it's the Switch 2. Yeah, yeah. I know. Exciting, is it? So, I have not actually played any game on stream on the Switch 2 yet. I was going to do Mario Kart at launch. Ultimately decided against it because I wanted to be able to enjoy the game kind of on my own, you know, without a stream weighing it down. And I definitely don't regret that. I do want to do a Mario Kart stream at some point, though, but we're probably, at this rate, we're probably just going to wait until the first big update rolls out, the first big, like, DLC or whatever, whenever that finally happens. It's still kind of crazy that hasn't been even teased at all yet, but we've talked about that enough in previous streams. I'm not going to reiterate that, but it is kind of weird though that the first ever game on Switch 2 we're going to be streaming is a game we've already been playing for the last like 5, 6 years. How long has it been at this point? No, because it was 3 years when Sora came out. So 6 years? Or is it 7? That number is creeping up higher. I mean, then again, okay. It was Smash 4's anniversary last year. So that would have been 10. Now 11. Those games are now 11 years, well, almost 11. Smash 3DS is 11. Smash Wii U, give it a couple weeks. We'll just say 7. Let's just say 7 years since Ultimate came out. That sounds like the right number to me, but I'm not 100% sure. Please don't kill me if it's actually 8 or if it's actually 6. But the point is, it's been out a long time. But I don't really feel like streaming anything else right now, so why not? Now, I did try to get Dylan involved in this. He is unfortunately not available because he's doing a family Halloween thing, apparently, of some kind, so they're doing something for Halloween. I don't know what it is, of course, but he is not available for that reason, unfortunately, so we are going to be soloing this. Hopefully Antonio and Valentine and some other regulars show up at some point, but for now it's just you and me, all, at least according to YouTube, 0 people watching. But then again, we haven't started yet, so believe it or not, that's the first time I've fired up a game on the Switch 2 since, I think, June 28th. Like, I played a lot of Mario Kart in that first month, and then eventually I was like, okay, I think now it's probably a good time to, like, stop. Don't burn myself out on it, because this is going to be the Mario Kart for the generation, so there's no point, burning myself out on it. Let's, get my fill in, and then, take a break, and then, then eventually we'll come back to it later. But I don't have any other games on the Switch 2 at this moment. That will be changing in the future, obviously. As of right now, I just have Mario Kart from the launch bundle. Obviously, I plan to get DK eventually. I didn't have the money when it came out because I blew all my money getting the Switch 2. Although I do have money now. Thanks to some recent eBay sales. So I will be getting Air Riders when it comes out, and we will be streaming that, of course. We will also, of course, be doing the global test events that are going to be happening. Not literally all of them, but the ones that are, like, at a reasonable time. But, yeah, so let's just go ahead real quickly. Again, I haven't fired any... So I have not actually played Smash on the Switch 2. Like, at all. Except for, I think, maybe one or two, like, just, like, test matches, just to, like, for the heck of it. But I haven't, like, actually genuinely played it. Which is kind of weird, in a way, but the reason why I haven't is because I was waiting for the patch that I think at this point is not happening, for a couple of reasons. Now, one of those reasons is because at least when the first Air Riders Direct came out, my opinion was that this game is going to be 1080p. Meaning that if this game is 1080p, why would they update Ultimate to be 4K or even 1440p? It was my logic. Take that for what you will. I'm more optimistic after that second Direct. I think the resolution might be closer to 1440, but obviously we'll wait in digital well, first we're gonna play the game, obviously, in like a week when the first test thing comes out, and we'll be able to judge ourselves whether or not, like, seeing like what the resolution really is. But I'm gonna say the bare minimum is definitely 1080p. Hopefully it's higher than that. Hopefully it's closer to 1440, because Mario Kart is 1440p. But anyway, point is, I've been waiting for a patch, because, like, I mean, Smash Ultimate is the third best-selling game on the console. It would be absolutely insane for them to not put out something. And what's funny is a couple days ago, I was talking to Ethan, aka Duo Force. You guys should know him. He's done a couple of discussion videos with me in the past. I was talking to him, and I told him, like, if you were to ask me, like, what's, like, my biggest, like, quote, disappointment with the Switch 2, I would say it would be that we haven't gotten as many patches as I would have liked, right? We got that initial wave. We got that initial wave at launch, including some notable games like Scarlet and Violet, Odyssey, so on. Then a few weeks later, we had that, like, random Splatoon event where they announced Urchin Underpass was coming back finally, and Splatoon Raiders was announced. And that's when they also announced Splatoon 3 4K patch. And it is 4K. The lobby is, the hub area, I should say, rather, Splatsville and whatnot. That's 1440p, 60, not 30. The original would have been 1080p 30. But the actual gameplay, like, actual matches, are straight up native 4K, and it looks amazing. So good. But anyway, aside from Splatoon and those initial patches at launch, we haven't had, like, any like, new enhancements come out. Xenoblade hasn't gotten any, Paper Mario hasn't gotten any, none of the other games have gotten any. And what's funny is I even mentioned how, like, oh yeah, Animal Crossing hasn't got one, even though it's, like, the second best-selling game. And literally the day after I said that to him, well, okay, I didn't say that, and I didn't, like, call out Animal Crossing specifically to him when I was talking about the patches. Like, I didn't, like, make it a point. I brought up Animal Crossing, but I didn't, like, make a big deal out of it. But the point is, after I'm mentioning Animal Crossing as one of the games that didn't get a patch, the literal day after, they announce a Switch 2 edition for only $5, which is the lowest price we've ever seen a Switch 2 upgrade for, and a big new content update for the first time in, like, 4 years. So I'm not a big Animal Crossing person myself, and I haven't really fired up New Horizons in quite some time, but I'm very happy that that game is getting a Switch 2 edition. I'm glad it's getting a big update. I'm glad that game is, that they've not forgotten, because that game sold really, really well. And I know I've beaten this completely and totally into the ground, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep saying it because it is true. That game sold so well because it was the perfect game at the perfect time. It released right as the pandemic was really winding up in like March of 2020. It was the perfect. Nintendo could not have asked for a better release date. And that wasn't even when it was supposed to come out, right? It was supposed to come out in 2019, but then it got delayed. Well, luckily for them, it got delayed because the game would not have sold 45 million if it had not come out when it did. Now, it would have sold well. It would have sold like, 15, 20 million units, almost surely, but it would not have sold 45 if it wasn't for the pandemic. But either way, that game deserved an update, not because it needed an update. It was 1080p 30. It's Animal Crossing. 60 FPS would be nice, but it's not a big deal. And it was fun. Like, the game did not need a patch. Let me make that crystal clear. The game did not need a patch. It did not need a upgrade. But I'm glad that it is, and I'm glad that it's pretty cheap. Like, again, $5. I mean, I'm gonna be getting it. I mean, I would get it if it was $10, but like $5? $5 for 4K. You had me at 4K. There's also a couple other things, like there's like mouse, the mouse support with the Joy-Cons and whatever. But of course, the big thing for me is 4K. Now, it is only 30 FPS still, but this is the one game where I don't think that's a big deal. So you're going from 1080p 30 to 4K 30, or at least they say it's 4K. Again, I'm sure people, I'll fire it up and I'll immediately know if it's really 4K or if it's more like 1440p or 1620p. But either way, it's higher resolution, so that's a win. Mario Kart 8, I don't think is going to get a patch because of World. But Smash, again, it doesn't need a patch. I will emphasize that. It does not need a patch. It's 1080p 60. It doesn't need a patch, but I want it to get one. Anyways, sorry for the big, long me. I do this, like, all the time, where I just sit here and talk and not actually, play the game, even though I can play and talk at the same time. Something that I really should be using more preciously, because I don't want to run out of things to talk about while we're playing. But, anyway. Yeah, it's been feels like forever. So, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're gonna just do whatever. Like, we're not, like, and by whatever, I mean, like, we're gonna turn on items, is what essentially I mean by that. We have never really done that before. Not because I have anything against items, I like items. It's just that, like, I'm so used to playing without items because everyone else plays without items. But you know what? Screw it. Like, we're just trying to have fun here. Let's turn on some items. I mean, we're not gonna make it too crazy or anything, but, custom stage is on or off? Random. Let's do random. Because I don't want to do the same 6 or 7 stages over and over again, because that's what everyone picks. So let's do random. So that's all 115 stages. And then we'll put this on... Where is it? Yeah, tournament. Just fitting lobby music, I feel. And, yeah, I think we're good there. Standard. Let me just see what standard is. You have 3 stocks. Items. Oh. Standard is items off? I have all of these ones from, like, a really long time ago still in here, but I don't know how accurate. Oh, yeah, the Final Smash meter. Should we turn that on or not? I like the Final Smash meter, but I'm wondering if maybe that would be a bit much. I'm going to say we're going to keep that off for now. I'm going to say we'll keep that off for now. Medium, I think that's good. So, yeah, all the stages, of course. Hazards, of course. Yeah, items, I guess. Yeah, anything goes, I suppose. Actually, nah, we'll just put it on all skill levels. But then again, I'm acting like this banner makes any real difference. It doesn't really matter that much. We'll just leave it alone. Whatever. Because whether people will decide very quickly whether or not they want to stay the second they see the items are on. If they are cool with items, they'll stay, and if they're not, then they'll leave. Simple as that. Okay, I'm sitting here. Wait, hold on. Wait, what the heck is what's that message again? Oh yeah, use a wired connection. Don't worry, I am. And basically everyone going forward has no excuse to not use wired because the Switch 2 has a built-in Ethernet port. Yeah, no excuse now. Well, okay, obviously, I say that, but I mean, what if you're in an area that doesn't have an Ethernet port easily accessible in your house? Like, maybe the router's in another room, whatever. But at least the Switch 2 has better Wi-Fi than the Switch 1, although obviously that's not gonna... Although the netcode is still the netcode, but anyway, I'm sitting here rambling. I'm doing the thing I always do, where we spend 30 minutes talking before we actually play the darn game. But for what it's worth, no one has shown up yet, so I'm not really wasting anyone's time by continuing to talk. I guess that one. I never really thought too much about the rotation setting before, to be honest. Okay, enough with all this. Enough with all this. This is... Oh, whoops. Enough with all this. Okay, now we're gonna do the thing. We're gonna do the thing. YouTube.com/ But this is on purpose. This is not just for self-promotion. This is literally to get people in the chat. That's like the whole point. Right, I did this back when I did these on Twitch, and it continues here on YouTube. The idea is to get people in the chat, because that's like half the appeal of the streams for me. Like, obviously I like doing the streams in general, but talking with the chat is like my favorite part of it. So if people don't show up and don't talk, then it's kind of like, what's the point? Oh my god, I'm already forgetting how I used to do it. This is gonna be me being really... Actually, no, we can't fit any more letters in. So we'll just go with that. YouTube.com, whatever. Everyone gets the point. Everyone gets it. Oh, wait, hold on. Again, this is me being nitpicky. There we go. Capital T. And, we'll just have to hope people show up. Step into the ring. Let's go ahead and turn on the ID and update the ID to make sure it's the correct ID. Then we just gotta wait for people to show up and hope that it doesn't crash and burn. Wait, hold on. There we go. Go and pin that. Obviously, right now, it's in kind of an awkward spot, but once the game actually starts, then it will be fine. Man, I have not seen the original Arena screen in a while. Because, of course, I've been doing a lot of these streams with the homebrew, so I get, like, the Windows XP Bliss wallpapered one that I've been using for a while. As well as others I've used in the past. I believe I had a Midnight Channel 1, Persona 4, as well as some others. But of course, we're playing on the Switch 2, and the Switch 2, at least as of right now, has not been homebrewed yet, or at least has not been, like, homebrewed in a way that I would say counts. I know that there was, like, that one person early on that got, like, some very basic code executing somehow, but no one is, you know, broken open the Switch 2 yet, so to speak. That has not happened yet, and it's not going to happen for a while. I know that. It's one of the reasons why I think having a Switch 1 is still worth it, because it's going to be a while, right? Like, I've said for a while that, like, Nintendo was going to do everything in its power to make sure that the Switch 2 would, like, that they would take people a really long time to hack it. People will, because this is the internet, and there's no such thing as an unhackable device from Nintendo, especially. Eventually, you will be able to have homebrew. Eventually, we're going to have Atmosphere or an equivalent and all your old stuff. We're going to get there eventually. It's just going to take maybe a few years. I'm not even joking when I say that. It legit might take that long. But we'll see. We'll see. Because the reason the Switch 1 was so easily hackable was because it was literally just using an off-the-shelf Tegra X1, the original versions of the Switch anyway, from like 2017, 2018. Alrighty. Our first match, and let's see if he sticks around. So, even though there's obviously no Switch 2 version yet, so even though there is no Switch 2 version yet, oh dang it, I forgot about what the item does. Even though there's no Switch 2 version yet, to at least make this a little more Switch 2-y compared to what it would normally be, I am playing with the Switch 2 Joy-Cons and the grip, so that's at least something. Whoops. Oh. Got kind of lucky right there. Okay, I screwed up on that one. If I didn't do the... Yeah. Nope. Connection's good. I'm only pointing that out because it's like weird. I feel like when I do these streams, the connection is either like mostly fine or it's like kind of a mess. There's not really an in-between, I feel like, at least the last couple of times I've done it, which obviously haven't been that many. I think I've done maybe like I feel like I've done like maybe like a couple every year the last couple of years, right? You know, in 2020, 2021, even 2022, it was a lot more common. But once I like stopped doing streams on Twitch, it's kind of when I was like, yeah, we can probably pull back on it, especially because obviously the game was kind of, you know, done at that point. You know, no more DLC, no more updates, anything like that. But obviously I still want to play it every once in a while. I mean, it's Smash after all. But alrighty then, we're slowly but surely getting people joining in. And again, I probably should pick characters. Like, random stages is one thing, but I think I might want to still pick characters. Ah, yes, the MIDI music. I have the luxury of having to deal with the MIDI music because I don't have my orchestral mod anymore. Oh well. Alrighty then. I'm gonna butcher your name if I try and pronounce it, but the person in the chat, hi, welcome to the stream. You're the first person. We haven't seen any of we haven't seen a Valentine Buster or any of the kind of regulars show up yet, but so yeah, thanks for tuning in here. Kind of my impromptu stream here. I haven't streamed this in a while, but I figured, you know, I'm kind of in the mood. It's been long enough. And just for the heck of it, I figured, you know, why don't we turn on items? I haven't used items in a long time. Don't have anything against them. It's just that normally everyone plays without items. But, you know, screw it, you know. We're just, you know, just messing around here, really. Nothing serious. But yeah, so the main reason I'm doing this stream really is just because, like, Kirby Air Riders has kind of gotten me back in the mood to play it again. It was probably the biggest reason. Obviously looking forward to that. Gonna be streaming the test streams, the test events when those happen. In yeah, I am totally out of it right now. I'm totally out of it. I was also playing as Greninja. It's a character I'm not good at, really. That's fine. We're gonna pick a character next time, because yeah, I still had random set on from I think the last time I streamed. I do have random stages turned on, but I do not have random, but I still had random characters. I want to do random stages, because I feel like one thing that I've noticed in my, like, many years of, like, streaming this game is that, like, people tend to pick, like, the same 10 or so stages, and most of the time it happens to be stages that are, like, the, quote, legal stages. You know? And once upon a time, that wasn't really a big deal, but I feel like at this point, it's like, no, I want to play all the stages. I don't care how legal they are or not. Because this is not a tournament. This is not Apex. Well, Apex is kind of a dated reference at this point. That was more of a 2010s thing, like early to mid 2010s kind of thing. But you know, this isn't Genesis. This isn't Evo. This isn't any of that. Like, we can play whatever the heck we want. The only stage that I would probably say maybe not that one is like 75M in like Mario Bros, like, you know, the original Mario Bros, the arcade game. Those two stages, maybe not those ones, but literally all the others I'm totally cool with. Yeah, I was actually just mentioning, I think before before you joined the chat, that so right now you can hear the MIDI version of the music. That's something that has always bugged me. Now when I played this game on Switch 1, I had the orchestral music because I had homebrew. But of course on the Switch 2, at least right now, there is no homebrew, so we gotta deal with the MIDI music. You know, I will say this. I think a couple of them actually sound totally fine. Like, I would say the one you're hearing right now, Unflinchable Courage, this is the Dragon Quest XI battle theme. This one is an okay MIDI rendition. It's not as good as the orchestral version, but it's, like, okay. It's not the biggest deal ever. But then you'll hear some of the other ones, and it's just like, oh boy. Like Adventure from Dragon Quest III. It's, like, one of the most iconic Dragon Quest tracks. It's the one that was used in the hero reveal. That version, especially at the beginning, is pretty rough, in my opinion. But yeah, no, it's kind of a mixed bag. Some of them are okay, some of them sound actually pretty good, all things considered, and then some of them are, like, really not great. But if you have the orchestral music, then you don't have to worry about any of that, because all the orchestral versions sound good. But... but it is what it is. It is what it is. Alrighty, you got some more people. Got some more people joining in here. Oh, one of them's gone. Oh, right! I totally forgot. You know what else I don't have? I don't have my actually in order CSS. That's not a big deal, but basically, like, one of, like, my kind of, like, my main criticism of the CSS is that, like, the whole idea behind it is that the characters are in order of, like, release, but they're not actually. Because, like, all of the echoes are not in their proper spots, and also the Mii's are down here when really they should be, like, you know, they should be, like, right around here. Like that's kind of a nitpick I've had. However, I made a mod, which you can go on Game Banana and get if you really want to use it, if you have a modded Switch, or play an emulator or whatever, that fixes that. That basically puts everything in the order it should be. But I don't have that on here, so like Ken is not in the ultimate section, you know, stuff like that. They're not in their quote proper place. But I don't know. It's not the end of the world, just something I just kind of remembered. Let's see. What are we gonna do here? I don't know. We'll go with... you know, let's just stick with random. Let's stick with random. Let's stick with random, sure. Because I feel like if I don't do random, I'm gonna fall into the trap of only wanting to play as, like, the same couple of characters. I gotta force myself to play as everyone else. even whether I'm good with them or not. I need to get around to, well, I mean, there's so many videos I need to get around to making, but one video that, like, probably would be timely to do once Air Riders is outdoor would be, like, kind of like the inevitable Smash 6 video. That's a video that's inevitable I'm gonna end up making. I'm just deciding whether or not I want it to be, like, a proper main video, or if I want it to be kind of like a discussion video or kind of a commentary video. I'm not really sure. It kind of depends on... I don't know. I have a thumbnail ready, though. I know that, but anyway. Random is a mixed bag. I like most characters, but characters like Ice Climbers or Sheik make it not worth it. I'm not really a Sheik person either, but I don't mind the Ice Climbers. Oh, were you just going? Okay, then I guess the other guy's waiting. Oh, that means we're on, Oh yeah, I forgot. Like, whenever you see, like, the little description at the bottom mention a stage, that almost guarantees that that's the stage you're about to play on. Yeah, I don't think I've played on the Paper Mario stage in a really long time. But like I said, I have random stages turned on because, hey, there's like 100+ stages in this game, and I want to actually play on them, not just play on, you know, PS2 and Yoshi's Story and whatever for the entire stream. Palutena is not a character I have, like, I think, like, a good amount of, like, like, I'd say, like, half of the Smash 4 characters I haven't, like, really played as since Smash 4. Like, I mean, I didn't play Palutena that much in Smash 4, but I played her more in Smash 4 than I did here. Okay, I kind of walked into that. Kind of walked into that. I wonder what stage we're gonna get from Air Riders in Smash 6. Because you know we're gonna get at least one. There's no way that we're not getting at least one, like course or something from that game in Smash 6. I feel like that's basically inevitable. At least, well, it's inevitable assuming that Sakurai comes back again, which I think he will. I know that there's been talk in the last few years of, like, is he gonna, like, retire? Is he gonna walk away from the series? I am of the belief that that's not going that... Here's kind of the way I look at it. I think if he was going to say, I'm not coming back, he would have said it already. But he hasn't. In fact, the couple of times that he's been kind of... Either, like, he's mentioned it, he's kind of been he's basically been like, if they want me to come back, I'll come back. I know he said that, like, years and years ago. And I believe in one of his videos he did, like, you know, on his YouTube channel, right, for the series he did a few years ago. I believe in one of the videos, I don't know which one it was. Probably one of the Smash videos, because he did, like, a retrospective for all the games he did, and I believe he did ones for, like, all the Smash games. I know at one point he said he doesn't know how Smash could continue without him, and I agree. Like, I personally cannot comprehend that. Like, it's going to happen eventually, even if we don't want that to be the case. But, like, there will come a day when Sakurai, whether it's of his own volition or not, walks away from the series, and that is going to be disappointing when it happens, even if he has totally earned the right to do so, right? I mean, he's been with the series since the beginning. He has been the captain of the ship for 25 years. And if there's a game to walk away on, it's this one. Like, Ultimate is the game where you say, okay, this is it for me. I've had a good run. I think this is a good place to leave it. You know, I'm not retiring as a developer. I'll still do other things, but, like, this is my last Smash game. He could have easily said that, but he hasn't. Again, he said, oh, if they want me to come back, I'll come back. He said, I'm not really sure how the series can go on without me. He's said that stuff in the past, so that tells me that the second Air Riders is out the door on November 20th, well, realistically, probably before then. Honestly, probably they've already started working on it, but basically, once Air Riders is out the door, they are, if they're not already, they're immediately shifting into, okay, now we're moving on to 6, right? Because it's the same team, right? The team that's doing Air Riders is the Smash 4 and Ultimate team at Bandai Namco. It's the same team, so... And which is blatantly obvious, because if you've watched either of the 2 Kirby Air Riders directs that we've gotten, then you will be very, very, very well aware of how much of Ultimate specifically is in that game. The UI, like, not all of the UI, but a lot of the UI is extremely Ultimate. A lot of the sound effects, a lot of the, like, visual elements, like there's a lot of just, like, little things in that game that are very much ripped from Ultimate. And that's not a bad thing at all, I'm just saying. And I expected that. Like, I expected them to reuse, like, assets and reuse the arts. Like, I expected them to reuse a good amount of stuff for that game. I mean, why wouldn't they? But it's just... It's, like, really evident, like that is a Sakurai game. It even has stuff from Smash! It has my music! It even has... It even has the Smash remixes of the Kirby songs in it. We don't know if all of them are going to be in it, but we've already seen a couple. We know that the DDD remix from Brawl is in it. I know I heard the Meta Knight remix in there at one point. We'll probably have the City Trial remix from Ultimate in there. We'll have Green Greens and Fountain of Dreams from Melee in there, I'm sure. Which, funny enough, were in the original Kirby Air Ride, although, albeit as, like, midis, as opposed to being, like, orchestrated, at least in the case of Fountain of Dreams. But yeah, my point is, I think he's going to come back. But whether he comes back or not, the reckoning will come. Again, there will come a day where he is no longer with the series, and it's not going to be the same. Like, that's not to say that the series won't be good still. I still think that the next, you know, like, Smash after Sakurai will be good, because I feel like Smash is way too set in stone at this point to possibly screw up. Like, I feel like it would be, like, a really... Like, I feel like it would be an accomplishment to make a, like, genuinely poor Smash game. Like, even a Smash game that people were just kind of thought was okay. I feel like that would be, like, really hard to do. But then again, who knows? But, yeah. Again, this is the whole thing I want to do a video on at some point, in some form, but as far as the immediate future is concerned, I think Smash 6, I think he will come back for at least that game. Now, after that, I'm not really sure, because at that point he will have directed 6 games, 7 if you want to count 3DS and Wii U as their own entry, which I'm not doing. It's one of the very few things I probably disagree, because I know that at least years ago, he said that, like, he considered Smash 4 to be 3DS and Smash 5 to be Wii U. And basically no one has agreed with him on that. Everyone universally agrees that 3DS and Wii U is just Smash 4. like, yes, they are two different games. They have different modes, but it's the same engine. It's the same roster. It's the same music. They are two different flavors of the same overall game. So it's one quote-unquote game overall. So, yeah. But again, there will come a day where he will walk away, just like how he eventually walked away from Kirby, right? He directed the original Kirby Dream Land, Kirby's Adventure on the NES, Kirby Superstar on the SNES, and then he like produced or worked on but didn't direct a couple of the other games, including like Kirby 64, I believe he worked on, but he didn't direct that one. He worked on, I think, Nightmare in Dreamland, but again, he didn't direct that one. And then of course, his final Kirby game up until now was Kirby Air Ride, the original Kirby Air Ride. And then he walked away. He left HAL, walked away from the series, and that was kind of it. You know, we thought that, you know, he had fully moved on, and at that point, he fully transitioned into basically, he obviously went on to do Brawl. He did Kid Icarus Uprising, then of course Smash 4 and Ultimate, and then now he has come back to Kirby with Air Riders, but yeah. But yeah, he'll be back for at least one more game. But I know we're gonna say that every single time. It's like we'll be in 2035 saying, "Oh, he'll come back for Smash 7." Surely, for one, like it's gonna be this pattern of he keeps coming back until he doesn't. But I do genuinely believe he will come back for Smash 6. I just cannot. I cannot see him walking away yet. I don't think that's going to happen. Obviously, people don't want that to happen. I mean, I know there's like a small minority of people that would like to see someone else work on the series. But the majority, I would say the vast majority, want him to stay on the series for basically as long as at least he is able and is willing to. Now, obviously, if he doesn't want to work on it anymore, then that's fine. But if he wants to work on it still, then I see no reason why he shouldn't be. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that Nintendo would stop him. Like, no, of course. If Nintendo would be more than happy for him to work on Smash for as long as humanly possible. It's one of their biggest franchises, one of their biggest sellers. It's their biggest hype generator. Of course, it would be ideal for him to stick with the series for as long as possible. But if it ends up being too draining on him, then, you know, fair enough. Again, he's more than earned his retirement from the series if he wants to. I just don't think he will. Not yet. One more, at the very least. But that does bring us to another question. If Sakurai is indeed coming back for 6, and therefore the team at Bandai Namco is making it and all that stuff, when does that game get announced and, more importantly, come out? Because before Kirby Air Riders was announced, I would have been in the camp of, yeah, maybe the next game is something different, but it's probably Smash 6. But obviously, it's not Smash 6, it's Air Riders, so that now means, well, when does that mean we're getting 6? Because Sora came out at the end of 2021, and then Air Riders started development in April of 2022. It's coming out in November of 2025, so that's like a 2.5 year development cycle. It's a 2 to 3 year development cycle, very similar to Ultimate. Ultimate, I believe, started development in summer of 2016. You know, a few months after Corn and Bayonetta came out for Smash Wii U. And obviously the game came out at the end of 2018. So if we're going by that, 2.5 year pattern of the last 2 games, that would mean that the game would probably start development, assuming it hasn't already, in again, you know, March, April, May of 2026, and that the game wouldn't actually come out until, honestly, there is a not, I know people will probably hate this, but there is a very, very real possibility that Smash 6 comes out, if not on, very close to the 10-year anniversary of Ultimate, which I know sounds insane, but then again, we didn't get a new Mario Kart for like a decade. So it's not like it's the first time. different developer in that case, of course. And also, that game had, you know, the deluxe version and it had the booster course pass. So it's not exactly the same, I know, but still. Oh, that timing. What was I gonna say next? What were we? Oh yeah, Smash 6's release date. So yeah. Now, if you were to ask me when do I think it's gonna get announced, again, under the assumption that the game has not really started development yet, and like they're not gonna actually start proper development on it, like full scale development on it, until like next year. My guess is I don't think they're gonna wait until 2028 to announce it. I want to make that clear. I don't think it's gonna be like with Ultimate where they waited till like the year it came out to announce it. I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think they will announce it. I'm gonna make a random guess and say the September 2027 Direct. I know that sounds like forever. I know. Hearing the words September 2027, it's like, oh, that feels like 5 years from now. It's not. It's 2 years from now. But still. But again, okay, but then again, Smash 4, if we want to go back to Smash 4, Smash 4 was announced at E3 20... Well, okay, technically speaking, it was announced before that, but the proper reveal of it was E3 2013, a year and a half before it came out. So maybe June of 2027? I don't know, that still feels like a long time away. Because here's the other thing, too, right? Here's the other thing. It's in Nintendo's best interest to announce a Smash game as soon as possible because it's a system seller, right? Ultimate is like the third best selling game on the system. It's so I don't know what I think it's like 35 million copies. It's the best game. It's the best selling game in the series by far. And probably will never be topped if I'm being honest, but that's a whole other conversation. But and so for that reason, it's in their best interest, yeah, to announce the game as soon as they realistically can. Now, of course, like with Ultimate, like with Air Riders even, my assumption is that when they announce Smash 6, we're not going to see a centimeter of gameplay, a pixel of gameplay. It's going to be a CG trailer, and that's fine, because Sakurai's trailers are great, but... And the guys over at Digital Frontier do a really good job. They also did the trailers... Well, we don't actually know this for sure yet, but, like, they clearly did the trailers. They have done, like, they did the reveal trailer for Air Riders. It has that Smash CG look. It has that Sakurai kind of directing. Because Sakurai directs, like, all the Smash trailers, by the way. I think the only one he didn't direct was the Pyra and Mythra trailer. I think that one was directed by Monolith Soft, but all the other ones he's directed. Uh-oh. Communication error? A communication error. The connection was actually going pretty good up until that point. We haven't had any like the connection's actually been fine. But it looks like someone yeah. Oh well. But anyways, yeah. It's in their interest to put out a CG teaser as soon as possible. I'm just very skeptical that it's going to happen anytime soon. I think we are waiting until, like, best case scenario, and I mean, like, best case scenario. We're waiting until, like, the end of 2026. Now, that's only a year away, so that doesn't sound too bad, but I don't know. But again, it really does depend on whether or not they've been working on it. Like, if it's been in development alongside Air Riders, or it started development like halfway through Air Riders, then the chances of it being announced much sooner is much higher. It really all depends on the development timeline, more than anything. If they haven't started work on the game yet, then it's not getting announced until like 2027. But if it's already being worked on, then it being announced next year is possible. It wouldn't happen until probably like September of 2026. It wouldn't happen in the February Direct. It wouldn't happen in the June Direct. We would get it in September. And it would be, of course, the one last thing. And we would get, like, the logo. And we would get, like, a vague 2027, maybe even 2028. Like, and that would be about it. But... and we would get, like, a CG, thing, But I gotta say, man, like, they are gonna have Sakurai's gonna have a really hard time topping the Ultimate reveal. Because I know Ultimate was not, like, forever ago, but it has been a long time. But if you were there when it was announced in March of 2018, if you were watching that Direct live, I remember specifically how they laid it out. So, for those of you that do not remember the March 2018 Direct, the two things they ended on was Splatoon and Smash. Now, first they had Splatoon, specifically the Octo expansion. So that was a big deal. But then, right after that, they started off with the Smash trailer, but of course you didn't know it was Smash at first. But it was Splatoon, which I guarantee you was done on purpose to make you think, wait, is there more Splatoon stuff? But then the second that the characters come out of the ink and the second that, like, you see the renders of the characters, it immediately is like, wait a second, I know that CG. I know that CG anywhere. And that's when it immediately starts. You immediately are like, oh, you know what this is. You're just waiting for the moment. You know what it is. You can just tell by the CG that this is it. This is it. And you're just waiting for the moment. And the moment when the Inkling girl turns her head around and you get the zoom in of the eye, that moment was honestly one of the most insane moments I've ever felt, like, unironically, in my life. Because the feeling I felt when I saw that logo in the eye, I have not felt since then. That's, like, the only way I can describe it. It's like a feeling I've not felt since then. But it was a very, very, very good feeling. And we're not going to get that again. But I know that. I know that. They're not going to be able to top that. You're not going to be able to top the eye. You can't do it. I don't know what he's going to do to somehow make it work. Maybe, like... I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna pull it. I don't know what he's gonna do, man. I don't know how he's gonna be able to top the eye reveal. It was such a good, it worked so well, and not just the eye, but even just the tease with Splatoon, right? Because it came right after we saw Splatoon stuff. It's a direct recreation of the old E3 2014 reveal of Splatoon and everything. It's got all this stuff going for it, but then the eye reveal itself is just So good. And then you hear the little instrumental of, you know, the da 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 da, and people made all kinds of like guesses as to like what the theme meant and everything. And there was that recreation on YouTube that one guy made that was actually pretty solid. And then of course there were all the silhouettes and everything. But oh man, they're not gonna be able to top that reveal. They're not gonna be able to top it. But they're gonna try. But I'm sure it'll be good. But yeah. Alrighty, so I'm actually gonna... Actually, I might... Let's see. Okay, I'm actually gonna sit out this match because I gotta go get some water. So I'll be right back. I'm just gonna let the stream keep going. I'm gonna let the stream keep going. I'm not gonna go to a be right back screen. Oh wait, what the? Oh wait, yeah, you guys do a match. You guys do a match. I'm gonna go get some water. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. We got Mementos. Mementos is my favorite stage in the game, by the way. And also, by extension, I think it's my favorite stage in the entire series. I really, really like the stage. I like the music, of course. I like the aesthetic. I like the hazards. Like, I like everything about it. My only complaint with the stage, I would say, is that I feel like there should be, like, more music than there is. But a part of that is also because this stage came out in 2019, like April of 2019, so it doesn't have any of the Royal music or Strikers music or any of that stuff. Although, if Joker comes back in the next game, and therefore this stage does, then I'm sure we'll get more music, although I really don't think that's going to happen. I mean, to be clear, not because Atlas or Sega will say no. I mean, they're putting him in the new Sonic racing game, for crying out loud, so it's not like they're going to say no. It's just, I don't see why they would. I hope they do. I want Joker to come back. I want the stage to come back, but I just don't think that that's going to be the case. Maybe we'll get the Persona 6 Pro Tag. You know, if Persona 6 finally becomes a thing already, or maybe we'll, or, I don't know, we'll see, but that's another video I gotta make. I gotta make, like, the like, who's getting cut video, right? Who's getting cut video, because that's one other thing that's definitely gonna be a thing next time around. There is no way in hell that everyone is coming back again, plus new base game characters, plus DLC characters. That's not happening. We're not getting 100 characters in the base game. That's not happening. It's just not. We're going to get cuts next time around. And that's going to be brutal, I think, for some. It's kind of like, how do you go back, right? Like, how do you go back? How do you have less characters? But it's going to happen. Same with stages, too. I mean, of course, not all the stages are in this game. Most of them are, but there are a handful of stages that are missing. Like Pyrosphere and Jungle Hijinks, the original Mute City from Melee, and so on. But Rainbow Road from 3DS. Pac Maze from 3DS, the original PictoChat, which I'm really surprised they didn't just make PictoChat X. Like, why didn't they do PictoChat X in Ultimate? Like, why did they bring back PictoChat 2, but not just have PictoChat X, like they have Flat Zone X? It's, like, really weird that they didn't do that. But... Let me up, let me up. I need to work on Persona 3. A few months ago, I finally got around to working on Persona 3 Reload. And I got stuck on a boss fight eventually, and I was kind of like, I guess I'm taking a break from the game for a while until I decide to come back and actually beat the boss. I haven't done any streams for it yet, though, because I did stream a bit of Persona 4 Golden a few years ago when I was playing through that. I don't know, maybe I'll do Persona 3 at some point, but the biggest reason why I wouldn't want to do Persona 3 is simply because I haven't actually played through the game itself fully yet. Like, I normally stream games I've already played before, you know. If that makes any sense. Alrighty. So that explosion effect you just saw, they literally just ripped that and put it in Air Riders. They literally just ripped it and reused it. Again, that's not a problem or anything. I'm not saying it's a problem. It's just funny to me how much of Ultimate they reuse in the UI for that game. Or just in the game in general. Again, it's not a problem. It's just funny. Although the main menu is different. The main menu has that, like, tabletop aesthetic, but that's kind of cool. Like, it's not just the Ultimate main menu, basically. Like, it's actually different, which is neat. Even if the rest of the menus are very, very Ultimate. I haven't played on this stage in a while. And looks like I'm Little Mac. You know what this just reminded me of? Again, this is kind of a throwback, although way more of a throwback than the last thing I was talking about. But if anyone remembers what is probably to this day my favorite Nintendo Direct of all time, the old April 2014 Smash 4 Direct, I remember when he talked about Little Mac in that Direct, he specifically said that his recovery is, quote, just terrible. And I mean, it is, but it's just funny that I remember him saying that. Well, let me rephrase that. He didn't say that. The translator, the dubbed voice, said that, because that was back when Sakurai's voice was still dubbed over. And then, like, halfway through the pandemic, like halfway through like the Ultimate DLC, they dropped they dropped dubbing his voiceover in favor of just having like subtitles. And they've just kept that going throughout the rest of the Ultimate DLC and Air Riders, which is fine. I kind of prefer being able to hear Sakurai's real voice anyway. But I do kind of miss that old narrator from that old direct. I always liked that narrator. I wonder who it was. I genuinely don't know. Sure, someone at NOA probably that I probably have never heard of. But oh, yes. You know another video I can make, although I think at this point it's kind of redundant because it's obviously not happening. But like, if I were to make a list of like well, actually, no, never mind. That's a whole other thing. Ah. Oh well. So, let's talk about something briefly here that is not Smash or Nintendo related for a bit. Let's talk about something that happened yesterday that I do have, that I do kind of want to talk about a little bit because it is something that does affect me. That probably makes it sound way more serious than it actually is. It's really not that serious, but anyway. For those of you that follow, you know, PC hardware, PC gaming, all that stuff, you may have heard just recently, this happened the other day, I think yesterday even. So AMD put out a new driver. That on its own wouldn't be notable if it wasn't for one very specific thing that was apparently mentioned in the patch notes. That essentially suggested that RDNA 1 and 2 cards were essentially being put off into their own kind of like sectioned off driver part. As essentially maintenance mode is what they called it. And essentially, if you don't know what that means, the long and short of it is essentially RDNA 1 and 2 are still supported, they'll still get new drivers, but they're not going to get any new game optimizations. They're not going to get like the game-ready drivers, as the video would call them. As you can imagine, that did not go over well. Did not go over well at all. And as someone with an RDNA 2 card, specifically a 6900 XT, which is like the best RDNA 2 card, basically, obviously, I wasn't thrilled to hear that like this card I bought 3 years ago and is still a really, really good card was essentially being like kind of sidelined. I wasn't like mad about it like everyone else, but I wasn't thrilled about it. Maybe that's because I don't really play games on PC at the moment. I mainly use the graphics card for like rendering and encoding and video editing more than anything else. Not really playing games at the moment, so most of the games I play on are on consoles at the moment. Like I've been playing mostly on PS5. Haven't really fired up the Series X in a while, to be honest. And obviously I have the Switch too, but anyway, but yeah, so basically that whole thing happened. It did not go down well, as you would expect. I mean, if you don't know your AMD cards that well, let me give you an NVIDIA comparison for like how kind of ridiculous this whole thing was. This would be the equivalent of NVIDIA essentially dropping effectively, not literally, but effectively in all the ways that people care about. Essentially dropping support for like the 3090. Like that's essentially what, like, at least it looked like it was. Now I say looked because there has been some clarification since then. There has been some clarification that apparently that is not actually the case. They are not dropping game optimizations from RDNA 1 and 2. That is apparently not what's happening. Or at least might be, I don't know, I forget what they exactly said, but they said it in a way that basically said, yes, it's in maintenance mode, but it's still going to get game optimizations and feature updates, quote, as the market demands, or something vague like that, which people are kind of like, I don't really know. But that is better than what their previous statement was on the patch notes, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not rushing to sell my 6900 XT or anything, but I will say that this whole thing has kind of made me second guess, you know, because my plan was to eventually upgrade to like an RDNA 4 or RDNA 5 card when those come out. Because right now there's not really a point in upgrading, right? Like going to like a 7900 XTX isn't really worth it. Even if I would get AV1 encoding, I just don't think it's really worth the squeeze. And the 9070 XT, which is the best that RDNA 4 has, you know, also wouldn't really be much better. So it's kind of like RDNA 5 would be kind of the jump, but, you know, then I have to worry about, you know, will the... Now, granted, I should probably make it clear, I did not get a 6900 XT when it came out. Because RDNA 2 launched in late 2020. I did not get one until, like, the end of 2022. So I didn't actually get... I think it literally arrived, like, on January 1st, 2023. Like, I think that's when it arrived, because I got it off eBay for, like, I want to say 600 something. Like, $600, you know? And that's been my card for the last, like, 2.5, 3 years. I've been happy with it, for the most part. It's got a lot of VRAM, you know, it pretty much flies over every game I play. Although I am on a 4K monitor, so that does kind of hurt it in a sense. If I was playing on a 1440p monitor, then like I would have no reason to upgrade at all. But on a 4K monitor, you know, an upgrade even from a 6900 XT is something. But I also want to stay within native resolution if I can, because of course AMD doesn't have DLSS, and FSR is still kind of climbing its way up the quality chain. Compared to DLSS, it's still not quite there yet. They're getting closer and closer. I know there's like the FSR Redstone project that's supposed to be coming out. That basically makes it on par with DLSS and everything, and that's great, but one, it's not here yet. Number two, all the old games that already have FSR are not going to automatically get that. And three, well, okay, well, at least all the ones that are like FSR 2 or like older. Now, I believe if you have FSR 3.1 or newer, you can do the DLL file swap that you can do on NVIDIA. But like if you have like a game from like 2022 that like that only has like FSR 1 or like the early FSR 2s, then you're going to be kind of screwed there unless the developer goes back and repatches it. But yeah, basically, the main point of this whole thing is really just that, like, you know, if they really were rug pulling kind of RDNA 2, then that would obviously be, like, pretty ridiculous. Because, again, like, the cards are only 5 years old, you know, whereas NVIDIA supports their cards for, like, 3, if not 4 more years longer than that. And here's the thing, RDNA 1... Okay, RDNA 1 was not very popular, but RDNA 2... And I know I'm biased because I have an RDNA 2 card, but RDNA 2 was genuinely way more successful than RDNA 1. Plus, RDNA 2 has DirectX 12 Ultimate, and it has ray tracing, whereas the RDNA 1 cards do not have either of those. So dropping RDNA 1 drivers... Well, it would suck for people that have those cards, especially considering that they only came out in 2019. And NVIDIA still supports Turing, which is 2018, and they only just this month, or just last month, dropped support for, full support at least. They're still going to be getting bug fixes, but dropped, like, game-ready drivers for, like, the 1070 and, like, those era cards, like the 10 series. In fact, did you know that Maxwell Yes, the 970, the infamous 3.5 gig 970, the 980, the 980 Ti, those cards that launched in September of 2014, 11 years ago. Did you know those cards were technically, now in practice they probably haven't gotten optimizations in a really long time, but they were technically fully supported up until recently. Like, they're dropping Maxwell, Pascal, and Volta. Volta was like a business-only generation and didn't come to consumers. Like, they're dropping all three of those at once. And all of those cards are like somewhere between 9 and 11 years old, and they're only just now being dropped. Whereas AMD supposedly was dropping cards that were only, 3 to 6 years old, because the most recent RDNA 2 card came out only a few years ago. That would have been, really bad. But apparently that's not actually the case. Again, I'm sure there's going to be more info coming out as, people are looking for further clarification, but the most recent thing I have seen, and again, this is by no means, me saying that this is 100% or anything, but the most recent news I saw regarding the whole RDNA 2 driver thing was that, yes, RDNA 2 and RDNA 1 are now technically in, quote, maintenance mode, which essentially, if you wanted to go by Microsoft standards, basically means that the cards are now in, quote, extended support mode, where they're, where they're like, they're still supported, but they're not getting like the full feature support anymore, mainly bug fixes and the like. But they've said that, no, you're still going to get game optimizations, you're still going to get, enhancements, you're still going to get that stuff, but maybe not as quickly as RDNA 3 or newer. I don't know. I mean, obviously, as an RDNA 2 owner, I hope that we still get pretty much everything that's within the bounds of getting. Now, I know that there's been talk of, like, will RDNA 2 or older get FSR Redstone because of the fact that they don't have the special cores the newer cards have. I mean, for what it's worth, I kind of already accepted that we're not getting that anyway, but obviously I would love to be wrong. But I know there's been talk of apparently that they're working on something for RDNA 2, but it might not be like the full package for like RDNA 3 has. I don't know. To be completely honest, I've been kind of checked out with PC hardware for a while. Like, I've kind of stopped paying attention to that stuff, like, for the last, like, 5 months. Like, once we were, like, fully into, like, Switch 2, kind of the hype train for that, that's kind of when I, like, stopped paying attention to, like... That's kind of when I stopped paying attention to, like, all the PC hardware news for a while. Like, I haven't watched Digital Foundry, I haven't watched Moore's Law is Dead, I haven't really kept up with any of the, like, kind of the gaming and tech and computer news stuff I have. I'm sure I'll get back into it eventually, I just haven't really been in the mood for it. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that. Something else to talk about. That's also kind of recent and relevant. So yeah. Hopefully AMD is truthful when they say that we're still going to get optimizations. But we will see. Again, not that I'm playing games on PC at the moment really anyway, let alone recent games, but... yeah. I feel like the amount of people I've seen play as the male Wii Fit trainer, I could count on my hand. It's just one of those things that, like, everyone just kind of universally agrees you don't really do. It's like playing as the male version of Corrin. Like, no one play... well, okay, actually, no, that one I think is more understandable. But it's just like no one really does that, you know? Like Corrin is the female version. You can thank Etika for that. Rest in peace. But like, Corrin is the female version. Robin is the female version. Well, Actually, no, Robin I think is kind of half and half, but Corrin is definitely the female version. Wii Fit Trainer is by definition almost the female version. Is there any other characters that are basically only the female version? That's like the only version anyone plays as. Inkling? Well, I never play as the male Inkling. I always play as the girl Inkling. And that goes for the actual games too. I've like never played as the boy Inkling. Pretty much. Because the girl Inkling is the canon, right? Like the girl is the canon character of that series. So it just kind of feels weird to not play as the girl in that series. And for what it's worth, when I play Splatoon Online, I would say like 75% of the time people are playing as the girl. I'm not saying I don't see people playing as the boy. It definitely happens, but it's definitely not the majority. How long have we been going for? We've been going for an hour and 23 minutes. Okay, then. This one's not going to be a super long stream, I imagine. This will probably go on until at least midnight. We'll go till midnight. Maybe we'll go to 1 a.m., but no longer than that. I mean, I don't have any... I mean, I can stream for as long as I want. It doesn't really matter. I'm just not sure if I'm going to bother. I'm probably going to run out of things to talk about by then, if I'm being honest. But who knows? But yeah, even though this game does not have a Switch 2 patch or upgrade yet, or maybe ever, again, I'm not really convinced it's going to get one at this point, but who knows. But it is a little sharper still. So how can it be sharper even if the game isn't any higher resolution? Well, that's because, again, I'm playing on a 4K monitor with the console set to 4K. So even though the game itself is only 1080p still, it does get that, like, very basic, like, bilinear, bicubic upscale that makes it just a little bit sharper. Even if the actual internal resolution is exactly the same. So there is that. It's a minor difference. It's very minor, like most people probably wouldn't even notice, but I can see it. So, at least I get that. Again, this game does not need a 4K upgrade or anything like that. It really doesn't. I just personally wanted to get one. But yeah, I've been enjoying using the Joy-Cons though for this. I mean, if any of you guys watching this don't have a Switch 2 yet, let me tell you that the Switch 2 Joy-Cons are way better than the originals. Like, that might sound obvious, but you have to feel them in your hands. They are better built, they're more solid, the buttons are much better, and the stick is really, really smooth. Like, it's super, super smooth. It feels really, really nice. Now, to be clear, the stick is not as good as, like, a Pro Controller stick, but it's much better than the stick on the original Joy-Cons. So, yeah, I've been totally fine just playing with the Joy-Cons and the grip. I do want to get a Switch 2 Pro Controller eventually, but I already have 3 Pro Controllers. I have the Ultimate Controller, I have the Splatoon 2 controller, and then I have just like a regular one. So I have my Switch 1 Joy-Cons, the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, and then 3 Pro Controllers. So that technically makes 7 controllers, if you count the Joy-Cons on their own. or 5 controllers if you count them combined. But I do also have another set of Switch 1 Joy-Cons that are currently like sitting in a bag because they're like kind of half broken. I've been meaning to get those sent in and seeing if I can get those fixed. And to be clear, when I say broken, I'm not talking about like stick drift or anything. That's a whole other thing, of course. I mean just like they actually have problems, and I just haven't bothered to send them in yet because it's not that big a deal. Although if I ever got them repaired, I'd probably just sell them because I don't need, you know, 2 sets of Switch 1 Joy-Cons, although they are different colors. For the longest time, the Joy-Cons I had on the Switch 1 were the Splatoon 2 Joy-Cons. And then earlier this year, because I wanted to be able to have matching Joy-Cons with the Switch 2, I finally, after 8 years of having a Switch, got the classic red and blue Joy-Cons to replace the green and pink ones. So the green and pink ones are the ones that are kind of sitting in a bag right now. Trophy Rush. This is an iconic track, in my opinion. I actually liked that mini-game. I'd be totally down if they brought that back, actually. Like, bring back real break the targets, not the thing they had in Smash 4. But I liked Trophy Rush. Both the mode itself and the music. Okay, then. So, yeah, what was I talking about again? Oh, right, the Joy-Cons, But yes, I need to get around to sending those other Joy-Cons in, even if I am just going to sell them in the end. Well, probably. I don't know. We'll see. I don't need the money right now. But I mean, they really would just be sitting around not doing much. I would just have them for the sake of collecting more than anything else. And I do like those Joy-Cons, but again, I really don't need that many. I already have enough controllers for the Switch and Switch 2 as is. I really don't need more. But didn't you just say you were going to buy a Switch 2 Pro controller eventually? Yes. But that's one controller, not 2 controllers like it is with the Joy-Cons, where you get a pair. And also, I don't have a Switch 2 Pro controller yet, whereas I have Switch 1 Joy-Cons. I don't need 2 pairs of Switch 1 Joy-Cons. But I do want to have 4 Pro controllers, right? Because most games max out at 4 players. So I would like to make it so that everyone in, you know, other games where it's only 4 players can just use the Pro controllers, and they don't have to use the Joy-Cons if they don't want to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for a special edition. Now, I know that they recently announced, like, a Resident Evil special edition. And that's neat and all, but that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something along the lines of, like, a Splatoon controller where it has, like, special, like, colored handles or whatever. I mean, I know that the Switch 2 Pro controllers don't really have colored handles like the Switch 1 controllers did, but I don't know. Like, I'm looking for more color in my special editions than just a pattern with black, you know? I want some color in it, you know? And then once, like, we get, like, maybe, like, when the Splatoon 4 controller comes out or something in a few years, maybe I'll get that, or I don't know. Again, I'm perfectly good on controllers right now, so it's not like I need another one. It's not like I'm really... Especially when I can put that money towards, like, more important stuff, like, oh, I don't know, games for the Switch 2, and not accessories that I don't need. Alrighty. Oh. Well, at least I wasn't the last one out this time. Maybe I haven't before, but I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm normally the first one to go. That's fine. I'm not really taking it seriously or anything. But... just out of curiosity, is it complaining about the bitrate? YouTube's got this thing. It's like, yeah, The current bitrate is too high. Please lower the bitrate. Yeah, no thanks, YouTube. I have gigabit. I'm gonna use my gigabit. Now, I'm not streaming at gigabit, obviously. That would be insane. And also, I literally could not do that because the encoder wouldn't be able to support that. But right now I'm streaming at 1080p, ultra low latency, 15 megs. Now, you're not going to see that 15 megs, so you guys watching the stream right now, what you're seeing is more like 6 to 8 megs at best, because YouTube recompresses everything. But the reason I'm streaming at 1080p, even though I could stream at 4K if I really wanted to, and I would like to stream at 4K, is because of the latency. 4K only supports normal latency, which is like 20 to 30 seconds delay, which is obviously unacceptable for a gaming stream, or most of the streams I would want to do. And then there's 1440p, which I used to stream at for a long time, but 1440p only supports low latency, not ultra low latency, at least officially. Now, technically speaking, in OBS, if you pick ultra low latency and you stream at 1440p, it will let you, and it will work, but then YouTube's little thing will bellyache at you, being all, this configuration is not supported, please lower the resolution. So I've kind of been like, you know, I don't want to have to worry about that. Plus, I think there was one time where, like, me doing that technically unconfigured or unsupported configuration might have screwed up one of the streams. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, let's be real here. I want the best image quality for the streams I can do, but let's be real here. All you guys watching right now, you're not watching at 4K. You're not watching at 1440p, even if you could. No, you're probably watching at 1080p at best on a side monitor or on your phone. So does it really matter? Like, does it really I care about the image quality, but do you guys care? As long as it's HD and 60 FPS, that's really all that matters. You know, 1080 60 is good enough, and it totally is. And I'd be totally fine with being at 1080p if the bitrate were better. That's my only real issue with streaming at 1080p is the bitrate. If you could get 4K bitrates at 1080p on YouTube, then 1080p would be fine. The problem is not the resolution, it's the bitrate that I have an issue with. Even 1440p is a decent step up, but whatever. That's a whole other thing. Unfortunately, Valentine Buster has not shown up yet, and at this point, I don't think he will. That's a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. But he has shown up to pretty much every stream I've done lately. Like, all the reaction streams I've done, he's been there for all of those. But, hey, you can't win them all. I mean, it is Halloween, so who knows? Maybe there's something he's doing. I don't know. Although at this point, Halloween's basically over. It's 10:49 over here on the West Coast, so at this point, yeah, everyone's kind of done. We had a couple. I mean, I'm not the one that does it, of course, but we of course have. We put out candy. You know, there were some kids that came by, although not that many. So we did our part and all that, but obviously Halloween for us is not what it used to be many years ago. But then again, that is the case for a lot of holidays, right? Like, Christmas was, like, the biggest deal ever as a kid, right? Whereas now, it's important, it's a big deal, but it's not, like, the biggest deal in the universe, right? Halloween is, like, way less than even that. It's just kind of like a day now for me, right? The days of trick-or-treating are long gone. The days of putting up the decorations are long gone. We basically just put out a bowl of candy and whatever, and that's about it at this point. Although I do know that last year, again, I'm not the one that does the greeting or anything. My dad and my brother have been the ones that have done that the last few times. But last year, apparently, some kid with like a Link outfit apparently was one of the ones that came by. I believe it was the classic Link, you know, the green tunic, not Breath of the Wild Link. But yeah, so that's neat. I mean, again, I never saw it myself, but I heard about it. That just reminded me of something. If I remember correctly, in the last Air Riders Direct, I think they said that Kirby's longtime voice actress since like the late '90s is like the one doing the Japanese announcer. She's like the female Japanese announcer in Air Riders, which is kind of cool. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong on that. But I believe, if I remember correctly, Sakurai said that she was going to be the Japanese female announcer in Air Riders, which is neat. That's something else about Air Riders, by the way, that's kind of neat, is that like we're getting both male and female announcers. That's obviously never been a thing in Smash before. Not that like anyone's asked for that, to be clear, but I mean that's neat. That there's going to be 2 announcers, and you can pick which one you want. That's kind of cool, you know. Realistically, I'm probably just going to stick with the male announcer, which is probably the default. I don't know if it's the default, but I imagine it's probably the default, and it's probably the one I'm going to stick with. But I'll certainly mess with the other announcers. And I believe you can pick announcers from any region, too. Because in Smash, if you want to hear the other announcers, you have to change the language of the game itself. But in Air Riders, you can pick any of the voices from any of the regions, even if you play the game in English, which is really cool. I'm sure that's something that they will eventually bring to Smash 6. Which actually brings me to another thing I just thought of. Who's going to be the narrator, the announcer in Smash 6? Because I think there's a decent chance that I mean, bringing back Xander for Ultimate made sense. I don't know if they would do that again. Especially if they're going to have a male and a female announcer. I feel like they would want a new male announcer to go alongside the female announcer. That's just under the assumption that they're going to do that in Smash 6. I don't see why they wouldn't if they're doing it for Air Riders, but... Also, I just realized something. The person playing as Luigi, I see what you're doing with that name. Honestly, I'm surprised I haven't seen that before. I'm sure that's not at all original. But I'm surprised I haven't seen that before, considering that's been almost a year. Yeah, what was that, like December 8th? December 4th? Yeah, it was like early December when that whole thing went down. Of last year. Wonder if there's been any updates on that recently. I don't know. Obviously, it was a big thing when it happened, and then there were a couple of updates for the months after that, and then it just kind of fell into the background. So I don't know if anything's really happened in the whole trial and all that stuff. I don't know, but it's pretty obvious who's the fan favorite in that. That's for certain. Whether you kind of agree with his actions or not, it's undeniable that he's certainly beloved on the internet. And people have made memes about him and stuff. But anyways, moving on to something... what else can we talk about? What else can we talk about? This is always the conundrum of these streams. It's like running out. What happens when you run out of things to talk about? Oh, I screwed up on that one. Let me go and see if there's anything else. Like, there's some other like thing I'm forgetting. So yeah, we talked about the RDNA 2 thing that's happened recently. We talked about that. We talked about Kirby Air Riders. Well, we haven't really talked about the game itself that much. We've just talked about a couple of specific aspects of it, but obviously I'll have more to say about that when we play the game, when the test happens, like next week or whatever. Right, I think we mentioned the Animal Crossing update that happened just the other day. I don't have much to say about it other than, like, it's cool that we're getting it. Again, I have not played New Horizons in a while. I'm thinking that I'll start a new island when that new update comes out. But we'll see. 'Cause I'm still on my original island from 2020. You know, it's going to be kind of interesting. We're going to have the biggest leap in, like, Pokemon stuff in Smash 6. Because, remember, Smash Ultimate came out in 2018. It came out, like, right after Let's Go, which was a Kanto remake, and before Sword and Shield, before Legends Arceus, before Scarlet and Violet, before Legends ZA, and before Gen 10, which will almost assuredly be a thing by the time Smash 6 comes out. So that means they're gonna have, like, 3 generations of Pokemon to pull from, because last time around they only had 1 new generation to pull from. Because it had only been 4 years since, Smash 4. They went from Kalos to Alola. They just went from Gen 6 to Gen 7, which is why we got Incineroar and a couple of remixes, but that was about it. We didn't get any new stages, which that by the way is something that has always kind of bugged me. Like, I've never played Sun and Moon. Eventually I do want to get around to playing all the Pokemon games I've missed at some point, and Sun and Moon is on that list, or well, at least Ultra Sun and Moon most likely, but anyway. And so I have no idea what they would do for a stage, but it's always been weird to me that they put Incineroar in the game, and they put like 6 remixes in the game, but they didn't put a stage from the game in the game. Now I get it, Sun and Moon was not nearly as important to get a stage as Breath of the Wild or Odyssey, but it still feels weird to not have a stage from like the newest Pokemon game at the time, or the newest like generation Pokemon game, when like the last game got a Kalos, got 2 Kalos stages and a Unova stage, you know, between 3DS and Wii U. So it just kind of feels weird. But then again, the base game of Ultimate was very much focused on bringing back the old stuff, not really adding new stuff as much. Certainly when it came to stages, right? I mean, the base game only had, not counting the new Battlefield and FD, it only had 4 new stages. It was, you know, we had the Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Splatoon, and then Castlevania. That was it. We had to wait until DLC to get more, like, new stages. But we had, like, a lot of the old stages back, so that was kind of the trade-off. Which I thought was worth it at the time. And obviously, it's like, well, we're going to get more new stages eventually, so it's not a big deal. And now, Ultimate has a grand total of, like, 11 or 12. Or no, it's more than that. I think it's more like 18 new stages. I think grand total between the 2 Fighters Passes. Let me look, actually, since I'm not playing this round. feel like at this point I really should know all these statistics like the back of my hand, but what do you... I mean, the game's been out for how long now? The game's been complete for how long now? I feel like I should know that. I mean, I know the 115 stages. I know that like the back of my hand. There's 115 stages in this game, grand total. I know that. The base game is 103 stages. And the final tally is 115. And I believe that 115 includes both small and big Battlefield. Now, of course, small Battlefield was added later as a free update in like 2020. Anyways, let me go over to the wiki. There is 19 new stages. So there's 96 old stages, and then there's 19 new stages. And only, well, okay, if you count Battlefield and FD, then there's like 7. There's the 4 actually new stages, and then there's the new Battlefield, the new FD, and the new big Battlefield. And then, of course, later on we got the small Battlefield as a free update, and then, of course, there's all the DLC, all the DLCs. It's 103, right, in the base game? Well, yeah, 100. So, I mean, there's no shortage of stages to play on, even if you only have the base game. Now, this might be me being really, like, you know, self-centered or in a bubble or whatever, but I was always under the assumption that everyone just had all the DLC, because because all the people I would talk to and play with had all the DLC, because, like, why wouldn't you have all, or at least all the DLC that's important? Like, okay, maybe you don't have all the Mii costumes or whatever. I mean, I have all the Mii costumes because I gotta have everything, but, like, most people don't have all the Mii costumes. But most people, I thought at least, had, you know, they had all of the actual DLC. You know, they had Piranha Plant, they had the Fighters Passes, they had all the characters and stages, you know, the stuff that mattered. And then, I remember a few years ago, someone in, I believe, the UK, actually, joined in one of my, like, the longest streams I ever did. It was, like, 8 or 9 hours long. And I believe they were, like, the first person I ever encountered that at least actively said they didn't have any of the DLC. Like, I don't think he had any of it. Not even one character. It was just base game. Which kind of, like, blew my mind, because it's like, wait, you don't have, like, even, like, one of them? Like, not even the first Fighter's Pass, not even Piranha Plant, even, I think. I don't think he even had that. Even though Piranha Plant was, like, free, at least for a period of time. If you got the game early. Similar to what they did with Mewtwo back in the day. But no, it was just base game, base game, base game. That's kind of an interesting experience, to be honest. Because it's like, this is one of those franchises where, like, everyone gets all the DLC, because you'd be crazy not to. At least that's... But I will fully admit that I am totally biased in saying that. Because Smash is my favorite franchise. So, of course, I'm going to assume everyone's going to get all the DLC, because I would. But to be fair, most of the people I've seen out there do get all the DLC. Or at least, again, all the main DLC. The characters and stages and stuff. Again, maybe they probably won't bother with all the Mii costumes, even though the Mii costumes are like 75 cents. So it's like, you may as well get all of them. But, yeah. But I can say I am one of those people that bought all the DLC for all the games. I bought all the DLC for both Smash Wii U and 3DS, both versions. including the Mii costumes, and I have all the DLC for this game. The only thing in this game I am missing is I don't have that one Kingdom Hearts song that you need, like, Melody of Memories to access. I don't have that. I've been meaning to, like, you know, see if, like, there's a place I can, like, rent that game from, just so I can, like, get the save data, so I can get it. Or maybe I could, like, homebrew save data onto, like, the Switch 1, and then, you know, get it that way, and then I would have it saved in my cloud save, and then basically it would all be good. Like, and then I could be on the Switch 2 and still have that song. I don't know. It's not, like, a big deal missing that one song, but my assumption was that, oh, this is for now, but eventually, like, in a few months, they'll, like, release it for everyone, and this is just, like, an early access type thing. And then it never got released to everyone else that didn't have that one Kingdom Hearts game. So, if you want that one song, you still have to get Melody and Memories and boot it up at least once to get save data for it. We're nearing the 2-hour mark. Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to go until midnight. I think we're going to call it at midnight. I think that'll be a good length, you know? I think that's long enough. That will be like 3 hours. About 3 hours, maybe 3:15. It's a solid stream time, but not like super long. I wonder how long the Kirby stream is going to be. I don't know, we'll have to see. Hopefully I'll be able to get Dylan for that. Not think it would go right through. Oh, okay then. Oh, right, I forgot. I forgot on this stage, there's that. I forgot about that. You can bounce off the yeah, I forgot about that. Oh well. What am I gonna talk about for an hour? What am I gonna talk about for an hour? That is the question. That's the question. I didn't really pull that off right, but that was a reference. If you get that reference, great. If you don't worry about it. Although, speaking of that reference, that's another video I gotta do, right? I know a while ago I mentioned how I wanted to do like a Doomsday video. I already have the thumbnail for it. I just have to. I haven't really been in the mood to like record it. I should also get some bullet points down for it. Probably be a good idea, but trying to think like what can I add to that wouldn't just feel like a rehash of a video everyone else has already done. It's kind of what I'm trying to think of. I still need to watch Brave New World. I know I really don't need to watch it, but like I haven't seen that yet. It's the only movie in the theater I haven't seen because of a situation where the guy I normally go to see the movies with, for whatever reason, I just wasn't included that time around. So I haven't seen that one. I know it's kind of just whatever, but for the sake of completeness, I do need to get around to watching that. Although there's still some shows I need to catch up on too. I'm not really in the mood to do that either. Huh. The Switch 2 is pretty cool right now, I would say. I'm so used to the Switch 1 just kind of like blasting air out of the top. Although, to be fair, on the Switch 1 I did have an overclock turned on with SysClick, so that's probably also part of the reason why. But on the Switch 2 right now, I mean, obviously we're not playing a Switch 2 game, but there's some heat, but it's, I don't know, it's pretty, kind of reined in, I would say, compared to what I'm used to. On the original Switch, you could hear it, like, you could hear it. I mean, it wasn't like, like old Xbox 360, OG PS4, jet engine. It wasn't like that, obviously. The fan's nowhere near big enough for that to be the case. But if you listen, you could hear it. But on the Switch 2, it's pretty silent. Fitting character, but not a character I really play as. So that means, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna need to ask you to not do that. Ah. Okay, well, we still died anyway, I suppose. Okay. You know, one aspect of Smash 6 I know people are kind of like hoping for or are expecting is like a lot of like the veteran characters, particularly characters from like Melee and older, getting like substantial like revamps to their move set. You know, like a lot of the characters have been mostly unchanged for a very long time outside of like one or two moves. Like Mario has been pretty much the same since, well, he's been the same since Brawl, and he's been mostly the same since like 64. You know, like they added Flood, right? They added Flood in Brawl, but that was really it. You know, and a lot of that applies to a lot of the other characters. Now, obviously, there were some changes in Ultimate, like Link got some of his Breath of the Wild stuff, for example, but he's still Link, very much. He's still not really a truly different character than him. Now, I'm not the kind of person that could do a video on, like, coming up with new move sets. It's not really something I think I'd be good at, outside of maybe, like, a couple of very minor scenarios. Okay, I could tell you one thing I definitely think they should do. If Young Link comes back, and that's a big if, because I'm not convinced he's coming back. I think both Young Link and definitely Pichu. That kind of pains me to say because I've always been a Pichu fan. I've always liked Pichu, just in general, just like as a Pokemon. I never mind a Smash character. I've always liked Pichu. He's like unironically one of my favorite Pokemon. But I don't think he's coming back, nor do I think Young Link is coming back. I think Ultimate was kind of their last hurrah. I don't think they're gonna come back. Certainly not Pichu, but I think even Young Link is not gonna come back. You know, they're gonna keep Toon Link because Toon Link is like different enough that like they can justify it, but Young Link, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to be wrong, obviously. I'm just not convinced of it. But anyways, you want to know the one thing I can say for Young Link? Here's the main thing I would do for Young Link. Even if his moveset didn't fundamentally change, at the very least, make him basically just make him the Majora's Mask character. Like, yes, Young Link is from Ocarina of Time. That's the game he's originally from. So they have the Kokiri Shield and the Kokiri Sword. And I get that. But Young Link is his game, right? Young Link's game is Majora's Mask. I think it would make perfect sense to just embrace that. You know, give him the mirror shield, give him the sword that he gets or whatever in that game, and then make his move set like, and you know, give him some, and then like make his move set more like that. Make his final smash like Fierce Deity. Like, I don't know, just make him more like, basically just make him be like Majora's Mask. Make him like the Majora's Mask rep, essentially. Because that's his game. I think that would make perfect sense. But maybe they still want to have slang for, but you know, but obviously with Link now being, you know, Breath of the Wild, you know. And I don't think that's gonna change, right? Like, I mean, obviously in the next game he's gonna have his updated like Tears garb with like, that's like, you know, like he has like the updated outfit from Tears of the Kingdom. He'll get that. But my guess is, well, okay, well, I would say the moveset would be the same, but the bombs are not, but you know, the runes are not in Breath of the Wild. It's runes, right? Or am I confusing that with what the things in Tears of the Kingdom are called? Whatever. The bomb, that's gone in Tears of the Kingdom, right? So them keeping that wouldn't really make sense. So maybe they replace that with some hand ability. I don't know. Or maybe there'll be something else they'll do with him. I don't know. But the point is, you know, substantially updating like legacy characters from like Melee and maybe even Brawl or older with, you know, something, you know. I don't think they really need to update. I think it's really just older characters and like a couple of ones from after Melee. Like, I mean, the stereotypical example is Sonic. You know, Sonic famously was added at the last minute in Brawl. That's why he only shows up in That's why he only shows up in subspace at the literal last second in the literal last cutscene right before you fight Taboo, like, or like during the fight with Taboo or whatever. Like that's like, so giving him like a substantial revamp, which people have asked for a very long time, but especially over the course of Ultimate has become like even more popularized. Like, that's the obvious one. I think most of the other Brawl characters are fine, but like Sonic is the one that like everyone agrees, you know, needs a substantial redesign. Like redesign him from the ground up, basically. I think most of the other characters are fine. Like all the other Brawl characters are fine. All the Smash 4 and up characters are fine. I mean, I'm sure some people have complaints about certain characters, but like, I would say generally speaking, all the characters moveset-wise are fine. You don't need any major changes. But again, those like older legacy characters from like 64 and Melee, like those ones could use some updates. You know, give Mario a substantial update, give Link a substantial update, give DK. I mean, I don't really know what you would do for DK, to be fair. But like, you know, give those older characters, give Pikachu even some changes. Although again, I'm not really sure what you would change for Pikachu, other than like a Final Smash change or whatever. Like maybe make the Final Smash like the like Mega Pikachu from Sword and Shield or something. I don't know. Although at that point it wouldn't really make sense to do that, because at that point Sword and Shield will be like 3 generations old or whatever. But I don't know. Of course. Not quite. I made it a pretty decent amount of time, though, on that. $11.26. We've been going now for 2 hours and 13 minutes. Mangione reached 5 consecutive wins. Yeah, doing the random stage idea was definitely a good move. I definitely like being able to play from like all the stages. Up. Okay. Have you been enjoying doing the random characters? Sure, I don't always get the character I'm the best at, but gives variety. Could not begin the battle. Okay. There we go. Okay. Loading time's taking a while for some reason. Is this a connection error? Okay, that's that actually might be a first. Like it can wait, what? Oh, why? Oh, what? It kicked us out of the lobby? And we got the Northern Crater stage too. That's wow, that's unfortunate. So we got kicked out of that. I wanted to play on that. Well, I'm not sure why it kicked us all the way out. But okay. That's fine. We'll fire it back up. We still got 30 minutes to go. I intend to keep going, even if that means everyone has to join back in. Oh, great. Now I have to type it out again. Now I gotta update it on the stream as well. Oh boy. Hopefully everyone comes back, but we'll see. I'm gonna go and update the thing. Now, I think that's a 0, not an O. But it's hard to tell, so hopefully I'm right on that. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know why it had to kick us all the way out, though. Like, why not just take us back to this screen? Wait, what setting was I on for this? Okay, that's still there. Oh boy. I have a very bad feeling that I don't know why. For some reason, I worry that we're going to be spending the next 20-something minutes waiting for someone to join. I don't know why. I just have that feeling. But now we must wait. This is awkward. There we go. It's only one person, but it's a start. How long until this person realizes that we have hazards on? Ah, reflected. Yeah, that's probably a technicality more than anything, but whatever, I'll take it. Well, he did that to himself, so... Ooh. Now the question is, will he stick around? That's the question. Okay, you will. Because it's one thing if he comes in, sees the settings, and is like, nah. He's sticking. But I can see that he's definitely got the competitive stages going, because we were on Kalos, and now we're on Small Battlefield, so he's definitely got that going. But there is only 2 of us right now, so why not, I suppose. Kind of walked into that. Okay, I kind of saved him right there. He got caught. I mean, he might have been able to escape, but... I think that's my first win of the whole stream. I'll take it. Even if it's only because it was a one-on-one. If it was a 4-player match. No way. Hey! The Luigi Mangione is back. Although his icon is not Luigi. But he was playing as Luigi. Joker. I'm surprised it's taken me this long to get Joker. I mean, then again, I'm not picking characters, but... Time to tip the scales. That's Robin, I believe. That's from Robin. Yeah, I've been enjoying playing differently for once, you know? Being able to play on stages we don't normally play on, being able to mess with items. Yeah, I mean, this is what, this is how Smash was originally intended to be played. but you know, normally it doesn't happen as much these days. So it's nice to do it for once. Oh no, Palkia screwed me up there. Oh yeah, remember when that was like a meme? The whole he fires a gun, whatever the heck the narrator said in like Joker, he fires a gun, whatever the heck the line was, you know. That was like oh yeah, for his neutral special, that's what it was. For his neutral special, that was the meme back then. God, that feels like so long ago. 2019 was a long time ago, even though it like, oh man. Get out of the way. Come on, I want my all-out attack. In all of its 720p 30 glory, because it's a pre-rendered clip. The 720p part is fine, it's more so the fact that it's 30. Although, to be fair, Persona 5 was only available in 30 FPS at the time. That was before the next-gen versions came out, so I'll give him a little bit of leeway on that one. Although that is a complaint I do have about, like, all of, like, the rendered Final Smashes, is that they're all, like, 30 FPS. And for some of them, that's fine, and for others, it's kind of distracting. Like, I kind of think that Steve's being 30 FPS is distracting, but that's kind of one of those things that, like, you know, before Switch 2 editions were a thing, back when we all were talking about, you know, Ultimate Deluxe or whatever, back when that was a thing, you know, I probably would have said, you know, one of the things I would want is I'd like all of the pre-rendered Final Smashes to be not only 1080p, but 60 FPS, so they, like, mesh better with, like, the actual gameplay. So I guess one other thing I could talk about, this isn't really much of a topic, but considering the recent history, I guess I may as well bring it up. So this stream is being brought to you courtesy of Windows 11. Now, why am I on Windows 11 when on the last stream I was on Windows 10 still, and when I've kind of been talking about for a while how I intend to stay on Windows 10 until the ESU updates run out next year? Well, the reason why I'm on Windows 11 right now, not Windows 10, is because of this weird, annoying bug I've been running into the last few months, where the HEVC encoder, like the built-in one in Windows for the built-in media player, which I do use. I know VLC exists, I know, but VLC just drops frames for me in a way that the built-in one doesn't, so I just use the built-in one. Well, anyway, point is, the HEVC encoder, for whatever reason, like the last couple of months, it's been doing this thing where every once in a while, it'll just stop working. Like, every time you try to open an HEVC video that normally would work, it will say, this file is like unsupported, or is using a codec that's not supported, even though it totally is. And uninstalling and reinstalling the codec and media player doesn't really do anything. But then I was eventually able to find a workaround where if you installed an old enough version of the encoder or the codec, it would work fine. But then of course it would auto update, which normally I would be fine with, but in this particular situation it was causing issues. So eventually it fixed itself. It magically just fixed itself for whatever reason, and I was like, okay, fine, good. But it's worth noting that entire time where the HEVC encoder just decided to stop working, it was only on Windows 10. Windows 11 didn't have this issue. It was only on Windows 10. So I was like, okay, it decided to fix itself. Now we're good. Then today, it was either today or yesterday, I tried opening up an HEVC video again, and now it's not working again. So I'm just like, you know what? Windows 10 is already on the ESU updates as is, and I'm gonna have to move to 11 anyway. So you know what? It's not that big a deal. Let's just go to 11, and I mean, maybe I'll go back to 10 again, but I don't know. I kind of feel like at this point, I mean, I've run Windows 10 for a very long time. I've run it, you know, I stayed on, you know, I kept using it up until the official EOL. Now, I mean, even though there's still the ESU updates, and I had the ESU updates set up, at the end of the day, I just want everything to work. And if I have to be on Windows 11 for the HEVC encoder to work correctly, then we'll be on Windows 11. It's not that big a deal. Windows 11 has kind of reached a point where most of the issues I have with it are either fixed, or I can easily fix with WinArrow Tweaker, so it's not that big a deal. So I have Windows 11 set up pretty much in the ideal way I would want it set up at this point, and we're probably just going to stick with it. I'm probably not going to move back to 10 at this point. I think we're done with 10, at least on the main computer. I still have Windows 10 on my laptop with the ESU updates enabled. Although it is worth noting that that whole HEVC issue never happened on the laptop. The videos always played just fine on the laptop. But yeah, so I think we're just going to stick with Windows 11. That's not a big deal. It's fine. I have it set up pretty much the way I want to. I have the taskbar finally lets me fit all the icons I want in. They added that a few months ago. They have this scaling feature, because on my other monitor, all the icons wouldn't fit, so it would have this kind of like thing where it would not be ideal. Now the taskbar is basically how I want it. I know there's a lot of people out there that still want the ability to be able to move the taskbar to the other sides of the screen. I'm not one of those people, so it's not really a problem for me, but the scaling thing was an issue, and that's been solved, so the taskbar I'm pretty much good with. And the context menus you can turn off. You can get the old context menus back. You can get the old ribbon interface back in File Explorer, so I've done that because I prefer that to the newer ones. And I also have the old Task Manager that's a bit more responsive than the current one in Windows 11. So basically I have everything set up more or less how I want to, so I'm probably just going to stick with that. Because I don't really feel like going back to 10, and then magically the HEVC encoder works again, and then it stops working. For no reason. There's no reason for it to do that. It just does it for whatever reason on my computer. Because again, it doesn't happen on the laptop. On the laptop, it doesn't have this issue. It's only on the desktop that it has this issue. But the fact is, the issue is there, and the only way to get it to go away completely, seemingly at least, is Windows 11. Now, if the HEVC encoder problem comes back on Windows 11, then I might go back to 10 for the rest of the ESU, because, well, then at that point it makes no difference which OS I'm on, and that bug is going to happen either way. So I may as well go back to 10, run that for another year, and then finally move to 11 permanently in 2026. But I'm only going to do that if the HEVC bug happens again, on 11 this time instead of 10. But we'll see. I mean, hopefully the bug doesn't come back. But yeah, so. Just something else I guess I could talk about as we kind of run out the clock here in the last 10 or so minutes, I suppose. Although, I don't know, I kind of want to keep going. But we'll see. They're sticking with their characters. Zero Suit Samus. Kinda walked into that one. Yeah, this stage really is kind of built for like 4 more players. With how wide it is. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. The barriers on the sides where you have to like get like to a certain percentage before it'll like break or whatever. I forgot about that. I swear I heard it say player 4 defeated. Even though I am not player 4. In fact, there is no player 4. $11:54. 2 hours, 41 minutes. I think we're going to go for the 3-hour mark, so at least 20 more minutes. It's a shame that no one else is joining in to make it 4-player. All right. So, oh yeah, so I was talking earlier about, like, oh yeah, there's, like, the characters that, like, basically everyone just plays as, like, the female version. Byleth? Whenever I play as Byleth, I normally play as the male version, to be honest. At least I feel like that's the one I play as more often. I mean, I definitely have played both, it's just, I feel like that's one where, like, it's maybe like a 60-40, like 60 male, 40 female, you know? It's slightly more male, but not by much. Oh, I thought I could avoid it. Alrighty then. I think it's my second win. But again, I'll take what I can get. Not that it means much, obviously, but... Yeah, they are just sticking with Dr. Mario and Luigi. I mean, obviously, I expect Luigi Mangione to stick to Luigi Mangione, of course. But, I don't know, Dr. Mario still running that. Okay. The Pack of the Man. Isn't Pac-Man coming to the Sonic game? Sonic Racing game? Or am I confusing that with another... I know Mega Man's coming to it. I swear Pac-Man was as well. I don't know. That's not a game I'm personally interested in, but obviously, like, they're doing, like, they're doing their crossovers. I mean, it is called Cross World after all. And obviously, it's got all the Sega stuff, but it's also got some third-party stuff as well. It's kind of turning into, like, the Smash of racing games. And I know it's not the first time Sega's done it. I mean, they had, like, Heavy from TF2 in, like, one of the older Sonic racing games. Now that's a character... Okay. A TF2 character would be pretty cool to have in Smash. Like, people would be stoked for that, right? Like, people love TF2. Like, and the TF2 like trailers are kind of like a precursor, kind of like a proto version of the Smash trailers. Anyways, it'd be very fitting to get basically a Meet the trailer in like the Source Filmmaker engine and everything, but it's for Smash. That'd be kind of cool. Now, who would they pick? My guess is it would be Heavy or the Scouts. Those are the two that I feel like they would do. Those two, I think, are like kind of the most iconic. It'd be one of those two. But that'd be cool either way. People would love that, right? And I think that's more likely than Gordon Freeman, right? I mean, yes, he's Valve's mascot, but TF2, let's face it, is far more well known than Half-Life is. Also, I have no idea what they would do for a moveset for Gordon, other than the obligatory crowbar, of course. But like all the TF2 characters literally already have a moveset they can pretty much pull from. Although I don't know if there's enough music in this. I mean TF2 has iconic music, don't get me wrong, but like would most of those really be fit for like a battle? Like, I don't know. Like, obviously there's a couple of them they would have. Like, obviously they would have a remix of the main theme. They'd have like that. Well, they'd have a couple of the other iconic themes in there. They'd probably have at least one or two of like the trailer themes remixed, but I don't know if that, like, I'm wondering like how much music they could really get out of that. Like, would it be one of those ones where there's only like 5 or 6 tracks? I wouldn't be surprised, but as long as they have all the ones people would want, I don't think it's a big deal. Also, what would they do for a stage? Just like, I mean, TF2, at least to me, doesn't really have like an iconic stage. You know, like one that immediately like if they were to have something from Counter-Strike, we all know what stage they would pick. It'd be Dust 2. It'd be Dust 2 without question, because that's the that's the most iconic stage, or map, I should say, in Counter-Strike. It's Dust 2. That's the one they would pick if they were going to put a Counter-Strike stage in for some random reason, right? But I don't know about TF2. I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. They're all pretty much equal. I'm sure it would be one of like the base game maps, though, not one of the ones that came out way later. Yeah, that's a character, though, that like I'd be pretty down for. Yeah, it's like a TF2, any of them. It doesn't really matter which one. I'd be pretty much fine with any of them, I would say. I mean, obviously, some of them are far more likely than others. Again, I think that that a Scout and Heavy are the two most likely. But I don't think some of the others are impossible, just far more unlikely. Like, they wouldn't do Pyro. Pyro, right? I don't know why, for some reason, I'm, like, skeptical on that. It wouldn't be that. Because Pyro doesn't have a voice, I would say. They wouldn't do Demo Man. I mean, he's got his Scottish accent, but I don't think they would do. He's not iconic enough. The Spy is iconic, but I don't know. I'm not really thinking that's one they would do. The Engineer's iconic. I'm not sure they would do that either, though. I really feel like it really is. It's either Scout or Heavy. Those are the two that just make the most sense. I'm pretty much even on that, by the way. Like, between those two, I'm like, either of them I'd be equally fine with, I think. I don't really have a strong preference there. I can tell you why they wouldn't do the spy. They wouldn't do the spy because he'd be too similar to the Joker. At least I feel like he'd be too similar to Joker. That's kind of what I would envision, is he'd be kind of like Joker. And especially if Joker came back, you know. They wouldn't want that, I feel. Oh! Okay. 12:06. Got about 7 minutes to go until we hit the 3-hour mark. But again, I don't know, I kind of want to keep going. Kind of want to keep going. I mean, 1 will be our cutoff. We're not going to go further than 1. Know that. Ah, he's gone. Looks like it's a 1v1 between me and Mangione. And knowing Mangione's track record, my odds are not very high. In more than one way. Oh, okay. That was brutal. That was also brutal. Okay, I'm getting... Oh, no. Yeah, I got pretty wrecked that. There was no part of that match where I was doing good. Hey, we got another person. Alrighty. Back up to 3. We've been at 3 for a while, though. We haven't had 4 ever since we got kicked back out and we had to start the lobby up again. I need to get around to playing Rebirth, finally. I have Rebirth. I've had it since launch, actually. My brother played through all of it. I still haven't, and because of that, I'm really far behind on Maximilian FF7 videos because I don't want to get like spoiled, and I somehow have not been spoiled. At least I don't think I have. Not in any like, you know, way that like is important. Not that I can think of. I've somehow managed to stay spoiler free on Rebirth for like a year and a half. But eventually I will finally get around to it, and then I can finally catch up on like a year and a half of FF7 speculation. Because obviously I'm sure he's talked to death about what happens in the game, and I don't really know what happens, or at least I don't think I know what happens. Almost. Right? Stay in the invincibility. That's the technique right there. We're gonna pass the 3-hour mark in about 30 seconds. $20 seconds. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 hours! 3 hours. We've officially been going for 3 hours. Oh, if only if only the lava had come down. Is it lava? I mean, it's yellow, but I mean, so I don't really think of it as lava, but it's functionally lava. 12:15 a.m., which means it is officially November 1st, which means that the title of the stream is now outdated. I don't know, we might go to one. We might go to one, honestly. I don't really feel like stopping. Even though I've run out of things to talk about, it doesn't really matter. I'm enjoying myself right now. Although, if I could think of more things to talk about, that would be nice. But again, this is the reason I don't stream games that much these days. It's like, that's like one of the main reasons. It's like, well, I don't want to... I mean, it's one thing if you do a stream every once in a while, but like if you do it all, if you do gaming streams like every other day like I was years ago, then like you are going to just have nothing to talk about. That's just going to be... That's just not good for the stream. I know Dylan, like, really does not like stages with walk-offs. Like, walk-offs, like, infuriate him. And, I mean, I get it. But, I don't know, it doesn't really bother me most of the time. Because, obviously, you can kind of get cheesed by him. I remember, like, there was this one stream where we would just constantly get Wii Fit Studio over and over and over and over again, and because I had a walk-off, it, like, drove him crazy. That was kind of my fault. That was kind of my fault, honestly. Bang, bang, indeed. Yeah, it's funny how fitting that is. By sheer chance, Luigi just happens to have a victory screen with that. And it just lines up so well with the name. And it landed in my favor. Well, oh, I'm gone.
I must move forward.
Okay. I was expecting that I'd be able to grab onto the edge. I was wrong. Ah. At least I didn't get shot out all the way. Wrong direction. Facing the wrong direction. Finally! Oh man, it's been forever. And I don't get to be in the match, but that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind watching. Wish me luck. I will. Thank you for joining in here. Honestly, I wasn't expecting anyone really new to join into the stream at this point, but I'm glad to have you. Although we're probably not going to be here for too much longer, but I appreciate it all the same. Now, I do not know which one of you are, by LKCP 9514. I don't know which one you are. Are you S Watcher or are you Calhoun? I mean, obviously you can't answer right now because you're in the middle of the match, but I don't know which one you are. Oh yeah, so way earlier on in the stream, I kind of brought up the whole like AMD driver thing that's been happening lately. So here's the exact quote that like apparently AMD said to Tom's Hardware. It's quote, "New features, bug fixes, and game optimizations will continue to be delivered as required by market needs in the maintenance mode branch." So that's the exact quote that they said. Now, of course, that brings up the question of, well, if it's going to be getting basically all the same stuff anyway, then why have it be a separate branch and have this whole thing be a controversy in the first place? But I don't know. Again, the speculation is that RDNA 2 and older is not going to be getting FSR Redstone, or at least not getting like the full implementation. Wait, hold on. I just noticed. Ooh, I haven't heard about this yet. I haven't heard about this yet. This is actually a big deal. At least to me it is. There's someone that cares a lot about video encoders and video quality and stuff. AV2 is a thing? This is my first time hearing about it. AV2? AV2? AV1 still isn't on Twitch yet. It's only barely, like, finally becoming mainstream in the last few years, and we're already talking about AV2. And it's gonna take, like, 5 years before AV2 is available in anything. But okay, there's an AV2. Okay. Apparently right now it has 30% improved quality over AV1 at the same bitrate. So that's nice. But unfortunately, AV2 won't mean anything to me until it's in a graphics card, because I'm not going to use the CPU encoder. Right, I'm not going to use the CPU encoder, so it basically, once an AMD or NVIDIA card has a built-in AV2 encoder, like they do for H.264 and HEVC and AV1, then we'll be talking. But that's cool that is at least on the way. Alrighty then, we have Killager. And there's another guy down there with a Mega Man icon. So, kind of funny how now we're finally we're now things are getting there. I mean, we could keep going. We could keep going. It's not like I need to go to bed at any time. I can stay up as long as I want. I don't got anything I gotta worry about. We could go to 2 if we wanted. We're not gonna go to 2, but 1:30 maybe? Extra hour? I don't know. We'll see. Oh god, I have never been able to remember the command to use the go thing. Like, I'm bad at remember. I even had a screenshot saved on my phone of, like, here's all of Terry's commands, and I barely even remember the one for Ryu. And Ryu only has, like, 1 command. Well, Ryu and Ken. And I cannot remember that one either. But, like, Terry has, like, 4 commands. And I'm sorry, as someone who has basically never really played an actual, quote, real fighting game, though that's not something I'm very familiar with. So, it's cool that it's a feature. I think it's neat that Sakurai put that in for Terry, but it is not friendly to me at all, because it's like, it basically just means I can't use that go ability, like, at all, because I don't remember. I don't know how to do the combination. And do it correctly, too. That's another thing. It's one thing if I know the combination, it's another thing if I can pull it off correctly. But yeah, AV2 encoder, that's cool. I did not even know that was a thing, like, legitimately. Like, I normally am pretty well versed on kind of the codec stuff, because that is something I like a lot, I do care about quite a bit, is like encoders and video quality and stuff. And that is the first time I have heard of AV2. Then maybe it like just got announced like recently. That's why I haven't heard about it. Because I know there's VVC. If those of you that don't know what VVC is, and chances are you don't, basically it's H.266. It's the successor to HEVC. It has been around for a few years, but support in hardware is very minimal. None of the current graphics cards have any official support for it. So if you watch a VVC video, the very few that exist, if any, then you would have to use CPU decoding. You couldn't do GPU decoding for that, let alone encode anything in it. All the current graphics cards from AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel support H.264, HEVC, and AV1. Those are the 3 encoders you get that have like hardware encoders, at least, on the GPU itself. No VVC yet, although I'm sure that will be coming in the next... Maybe not like I would say the next generation is probably about time for it. But the problem is there's not really much demand for it, right? Like AV1 has kind of become the standard codec for like open source video. Like, you know, Google uses it on YouTube. There's a decent chance that the stream you're watching right now is AV1 encoded. Now, I am streaming to YouTube in HEVC, but remember, YouTube re-encodes everything. So there's a chance that you're watching an AV1 stream right now. It's unlikely because I'm only streaming at 1080p. But if I was doing a 1440p or a 4K stream, it might be AV1 or it might be VP9. That's the other one. Although that one's pretty much a deprecated codec at this point. All right, yeah, we got a line. We got a line for sure. Alrighty, back of the line. I'm gonna look into this AV2 thing a little more. Is there any other enough? Final AV2 release end of 2025. Now, when they say end of 2025, do they mean for like the standard to be finalized, or do they mean for like the codec to actually be available as like a CPU encoder at least? Obviously, there's no GPU encoders at all. Heck, there's not even any GPU encoders for VVC, and that's been a thing for a few years. Oh, Settle It and Smash. That's a classic. Well, actually, well, hold on a second. All those are built in, right? This isn't like with It's still a classic, though. That's from the old ad campaign. For those of you that remember the Smash 4 ads, particularly for Smash 3DS. The Settle It and Smash. I actually kind of liked those. Like, I know that, like, that era of, you know, ads for Nintendo was not great. And there are definitely a share of ones that are just not really good or are kind of cringy, but I actually kind of liked the Smash 3DS ads. Like, they had that one in, like, the bus and stuff. I kind of liked it. I kind of liked that one, to be honest, the Settle and Smash one. So I kind of liked those. But anyway, so yeah, is this CPU... So is this just finalizing the standard, but there's not going to be any encoders available? Or does that mean that, like, in, like, the next FFmpeg release, we could get, like, an AV2? And it'd be, like, it would be an experimental encoder, I'm sure. But you wouldn't want to use it for anything serious. It would basically just be for messing around with, but... You know. So apparently AV2 has been in development for 5 years. Although, to be fair, AV1 was in development as far back as, like, 2017. And then didn't really become a thing until, like 3 or 4 years ago. Although it really is still not fully implemented. It's, like, halfway there. Like, there's enough hardware and software support that it's essentially here. But there are still some keys, like you can encode to YouTube in AV1. Like, they'll do transcoding on their end, but I mean, you in OBS can use AV1 and HEVC, for that matter, on YouTube, but not on Twitch. Twitch is still holding on here in November now. It's now officially November, right? As of an hour ago. Here in November of 2025, they still are only H.264. Now, I know they have that enhanced stream beta thing they launched like a year or so ago, but it hasn't really gone beyond that. They've never officially implemented, like, you can just stream with HEVC or AV1, you don't have to worry about doing any special setup. They haven't done that yet. That's one of the reasons I don't stream on Twitch anymore, by the way, is, like, the fact that they don't support HEVC. That didn't matter as much in the past, but that is kind of something that's bugged me more. Also, their limitation of only having 1080p 60 and no 4K or 1440p. I mean, obviously, right now I'm only doing 1080p on YouTube anyway, but I'm just saying. Okay, I found an article talking about AV2 from 2021. That's probably when it was first announced, but the first I've heard about it is literally just right now. So, TechSpot's got an article from a few months ago, apparently. Does it have a Wikipedia page yet? Whoop. So apparently AV1 was initially released in March of 2018. That was the first version of it. Yeah, it didn't get implemented until like 2021, 2022, 2023, really. So if that's anything to go by, assuming that assuming that that release date that I saw is like the release date, not just finalizing the standard, but like no, the encoder will be available for you to mess with. Then that means we're probably waiting until like 2029, 2030 before we even get any hardware encoders, let alone any kind of like actual like software side, you know, like Google side type stuff.
The key to victory lies within.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of people. We got a full lobby. 8 people. You know something I just realized? I have not tried the game chat functionality once yet. I'll probably try that with Dylan whenever I talk to him next. Because I haven't talked to him since the Switch 2 came out, and also he now has a Switch 2, so we'll probably mess with that just to see what that's like. Okay, looks like I'm Wii Fit Trainer. So that does not bode well for me. Now, here's one other thing I will say, though. This is something that does kind of make all these newer encoders, like AV1, AV2, VVC. Here's one thing that kind of makes all those codecs irrelevant for me in a way. As nice as they are, there's one thing that holds them back for me. Well, one, the current graphics card I have, which, like I said earlier on in the stream, is a 6900 XT, doesn't have AV1 encoding, let alone any of the encoders that no card has right now. It has AV1 decoding, but the only thing you can encode in is H.264 and HEVC. And that's fine. That's all most services support anyway, but still. But more importantly than that, even if I had an RDNA 3 or RDNA 4 card or a Lovelace card or a Blackwell card or whatever, it wouldn't matter because I still wouldn't be using AV1. Why? Not because OBS doesn't support it, because it does. Not because YouTube doesn't support it, because it does. Nope. You want to know why I wouldn't be doing it? Because the program I use to edit in does not support it on the version I use. Now, newer versions support AV1, but not the version I use, and the version I want to continue to use is for as long as I possibly can. So what program is that, you may ask? Well, that, my friends, would be a little program that I'm sure you're all familiar with called Vegas Pro. Yes, I use Vegas. Yes, I'm happy using Vegas. I've been using Vegas since 2017, and I have absolutely no intention of ever switching away. For as long as I can use it, I'm going to use it. I like using it. I know how to edit in it. There are certain plugins I have that I don't know if I'd be able to find on other programs. And every other editing program I've tried that's like a mainstream program hasn't really clicked with me. I have no interest in paying for Premiere Pro, so that's off the table. And Resolve is free and a very good tool. Obviously, it's one of the, it's used in, professional video editing for movies and stuff, obviously. But the workflow is just not for me. I've messed with it every once in a while, but it's just not for me. And I know there's like open source ones like Kdenlive and stuff, and those ones are probably closer to something I would use, and also have the advantage of working on other OSs if I ever wanted to move away from Windows, which I have no plan of doing anytime soon. But at the end of the day, Vegas does what I want. I like using Vegas. I'm going to stick with Vegas. However, there is one flaw. One of the plugins I use only works correctly on one version of Vegas, Vegas 18. On Vegas 17 or older, it has, there's this weird banding problem that happens with one of the plugins. But it only happens in 17 or older or 19 or newer, not 18. And because this plugin is a plugin I am not going to live without, it's way, way, way too important to me to want to ever give it up. I basically now have to stick with 18 because of it. Now, that's not a big deal because 18 is a version I'm perfectly fine using. There are some features in the newer versions that I do have, by the way. I do have newer versions in 18, but I don't use them. I have versions 14 through 21. Why do I have so many versions of Vegas? Humble Bundle, my friend. Humble Bundle. Ever since Humble Bundle started doing those like Vegas bundles for like 20, 30 bucks every year or so, I've always gotten them. And so because of that, over the last 6 or 7 years, I've accrued Vegas 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, and 21. Now, they skipped 17 and 20, but I ended up getting those ones for cheap on not on eBay, on Reddit. People on Reddit were selling them on like the Vegas Pro subreddit. In fact, I literally just like a week ago, like a few days ago, basically, got Vegas 20 from some guy off of Reddit for 10 bucks. The process to transfer the key to my account took longer than it should have, but eventually it all worked out, and now I have that as well. Even though I have no intention of ever using it, I basically am just getting it for the collecting purposes, just to have it in my stash, you know? Because I don't have that version, and it's the one thing missing in my collection so far of all the versions I have. So I have, 14 through 21, and 21 is the first version that adds AV1 support, both for exporting and for importing. Now, you can export to AV1, even with GPU encoding, as far back as Vegas 12, a version of Vegas that came out in, 2012, and it doesn't even support HEVC because it's that old. But you can export to those formats using Vocoder, which is an awesome plugin that I've been using for years now. Originally out of necessity to get around a bug in rendering, and now I just use it because I like using it. It lets me do lossless audio in an MOV container with HEVC, something you wouldn't be able to do by default, where you'd be limited to AAC with an MP4 container. Now, let's be real here. Does that actually matter? No. Like, does it no, it super doesn't matter. It, really, really doesn't matter, for YouTube especially. Because it's all going to get recompressed, and no one would notice the difference anyway. But again, I care. I want lossless audio, even if it makes no difference, because I want it. So... one problem, though, is the version of Vocoder that I use, it only works as far as version 22. Version 23, which came out just a few months ago. Not that I have it anyway, not yet anyway. In a few years, I'm sure I'll have it through one of the Humble Bundles, but the newer, any version past 23 loses support for that plugin. At least for the version I have. There is a newer version that you can pay for, but it's personally, I tried it back when it was free. It wasn't really my thing. I prefer Classic. I'd rather use Classic. Although he did mention the guy that makes the plugin and makes the new version of the plugin that's now a paid plugin, whereas the original plugin was free. He mentioned adding a Classic UI, kind of for people like me that prefer Classic. So maybe at some point, way in the future, whenever I move to a newer version at some point, maybe I'll end up getting that newer version of Vocoder Pro, but for the time being, for as long as I'm using Vegas 18, I'm going to use that classic version of the plugin that does everything I want it to do. But anyways, my point is, with that plugin, I can export AV1 from Vegas 18, but I cannot import it. And if I can't import it, then that's really the only thing that matters, because 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 then it means I can't record AV1 video in OBS to use in Vegas to edit. I wouldn't be able to do that. So essentially, I'm limited to HEVC as my best codec, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with HEVC. It's still a great codec, and it's way more supported than AV1 is. So that's not a problem at all. But that does mean that even when I get a graphics card that can do AV1 on the GPU, I basically am not going to be able to use it, at least for recording. Now, theoretically, I could stream an AV1 and then record an HEVC for, like, the local recordings I do of the streams, but I don't know. Especially, like, on Twitch, whenever Twitch finally gets AV1, that would be one thing, but on YouTube, I probably should just stick to HEVC and just crank the bitrate. Since I can do that without any issues anyway. Alrighty, it is 12:53. Going now for 3 hours and 40 minutes. So, I think we're going to stop at 1. I said maybe we'd go a little longer. I think 1 is a good stopping point. So we probably got 2 matches in front of us left. Maybe 3, if one of them is really short. But my guess is we got 2 matches left. Another one of the reasons, by the way, that I've stuck to Vegas 18 is because I just prefer the UI more. Like, the look of parts of the UI in the newer versions I like, and I think version 23's kind of overall, to make it feel a lot more modern, looks really nice. But, and the color palette is also better. I wasn't a fan of the, like, 19 through 22 color palette that much, although you can change the color palette, but then it just doesn't feel right to me. Like, for me, it's like I want the default color palette to be something I like. So, version 23, if the plugin worked correctly, and when I say the plugin, I mean like the plugin I can't live without, not the vocoder plugin. I can live without that. I don't need that. I like it, but I don't need it. But the other plugin, which is like an old Universe plugin, that plugin still works, but like one specific like feature in it still has that banding issue even on version 23, I believe. So even with version 23, because 23 is a really nice version, but and it also has like the upgraded like video engine, and you know, which is also something that's very big. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna run 18 for as long as I can, essentially. As long as like I still get GPU acceleration, then I'm just gonna stick to 18 basically, because 18 does everything I need it to do. It's really, again, there's features in the newer versions that are nice. Like there are some text features in the newer versions that are kind of nice. There are some other things here and there that are kind of nice, but none of them are features I need. I'm perfectly content never ever upgrading from 18 for practical purposes, if that is what happens. Although it is worth noting that like all the other plugins in the Universe plugin work fine on the newer versions. It's just like the billowed background specifically that has that banding issue that only happens on every version that is not 18. It's very, very weird. Almost makes me wonder if it's because of the version of it I'm using. Like the version of Universe, that is. But it is what it is. But I am future-proofed on 18. Not that it's going to matter anytime soon, and not like anyone would care anyway, but Vegas 18, I can go up to 8K. I can render videos in 8K, full DCI 8K for that matter, the full 8192 by 4320. Not that anyone cares, but I'm just saying. So I can, so it's not like, so I can render to 8K in the future once 8K capture cards become a thing, and You know, the consoles can do some modicum of 8K eventually, but like, because I'm sure the PS6 and the next Xbox are they're gonna have, you know, their fancy upscalers. You know, we'll have a new generation of PSSR and whatever, and they're gonna be all 8K, 8K, 8K or whatever. Even though, to be honest, I'm not really that interested in 8K. As someone that's all in on 4K, 8K, I mean, I'm sure it'll be nice, but I'm perfectly happy with my 4K monitor. It's pretty dang good. Resolution's pretty dang good on the 4K monitor as is. I'm not gonna... I could see an 8K TV. I could see that, but an 8K monitor, and I use a monitor. I don't use a TV. Then yeah, I don't know. Not really seeing a use case for that. But hey, if/when I ever move to 8K for anything, I can do it without having to upgrade Vegas. But 4K is going to be plenty for the foreseeable future, right? I mean, there's still plenty of people uploading in 1080p, never mind 4K, even though 4K is a lot more common now than it used to be.
I'm always 3 steps ahead.
Alrighty. This is going to be the last match. This is going to be the last match. I think we've had a good run. 3 hours, 46 minutes. Not a very active chat. No Valentine, no Antonio, but I think all things considered, I think this worked out. I've been enjoying myself. I would have stopped the stream like an hour ago otherwise. Of course. Oh! Right as they became active. Man, I don't think I've played on Venom in a long time. Like the regular version of Venom. Feels like a long time since I've played on it. Yeah, we were always a Corneria family, that's for sure. I mean, everyone likes Corneria. I'm just saying. Never really played on Venom much, even in Melee and Brawl. It was in Brawl, right? Wait, or was it? Actually, wait, no, it was not in Brawl. It was in Melee, though, obviously. No, Corneria was in Brawl, but not... Oh, well. You want to know one stage that they're guaranteed to bring back in Smash 6? Temple. They're never gonna not bring back Temple. That's like mandatory. It's been in every console game since Melee. It's way too iconic to not bring back for like every game for like the rest of time. So you can be certain that that stage will come back. I think Corneria has a good chance of coming back too. That's an iconic one, but definitely Temple. It wasn't in Smash 3DS, but to be fair, Temple on like an original 3DS screen would have been probably kind of brutal. On a new 3DS, it would have been on like a 3DS XL or a new 3DS XL, it probably would have been okay. But you got to accommodate for those smaller screens, so I don't know. Also, it just made sense to have it on the Wii U version because of 8 players and all that. And our final winner, with the fitting bang bang, befitting of one Luigi Mangione. Alrighty then, so that's going to be it, my friends. That was a good, yeah, we really picked up there near the end, though. Really picked up in the last, like, 30-something, like, minutes. Like everyone just started to come on in here kind of at the last second, but hey, I'll take it. Nope, sorry. I'm afraid that's the end of the road. Just out of curiosity. No. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have all of, like, the newer ones. I just wanted to see. Just for the heck of it. Alrighty. And that was the stream. Yeah, in a sense, it didn't quite go as I wanted, but I think we managed to make it work. There was a period of time, though, where I really did kind of run out of things to talk about, but it is what it is, I suppose. But hey, it was fun. Nice change of pace. I think we're going to do that going forward. I think we're going to do that, yeah, random stages with items. I like doing that. hopefully you guys like doing that as well. Shout out to Luigi Mangione. He definitely was around the longest. He was basically there from the beginning. Well, actually, I don't think he was there from the beginning, but he was there for, I think he was there the longest of anyone. Also, the person that was playing Dr. Mario was there for a good amount of time, too. But of course, because of the haha funny name, we gotta do shout out Luigi Mangione. But anyway, but in all seriousness, though, yeah, thanks to everyone for playing. Thanks to the two guys in the chat that I commented earlier. And yeah, it was fun. It was nice to do that finally after a long time. Although it would have been nice to have Dylan. But hey, maybe next time. Maybe next time. So, what's next? Well, I know I've already said it before, and I've been saying it. I said it in the last stream I did, but the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be transitioning from one Sakurai game to another Sakurai game. The next Sakurai game. We're going to be moving from Smash Ultimate to trying out the Kirby Online Test, Global Online, whatever the heck they called it, like Global Test Ride, whatever the heck they called it. We're going to be streaming that. They're going to be doing 2 main test periods. They're going to be doing one on like the 8th and the 9th, and then they're going to be doing one on like the 15th and the 16th. And there's going to be 3 different time zones for each of them. Now, we're obviously not going to do all of them. We're going to do the one that's like 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I believe that's going to be the 9th and the 16th. I don't know. Point is, whenever like the reasonable time ones happen, we're going to do at least one of them. I might stream both. It'll depend. But we're definitely going to stream at least that first one. So be on the lookout for that when that happens in probably like a week or so. And yeah, aside from that, is there anything else? Well, I mean, not really. Obligatory statement about how there are videos I want to make, but will I actually be lazy, will I be lazy enough, will I not be lazy enough to actually get them to materialize, or will I start recording one of them, and then I'm kind of like, I'm not really into it. I don't know. So yeah, obligatory statement on that, but as far as streams are concerned, we're going to do a Kirby stream. Obviously, when the Game Awards happen in December, we're going to do that. I don't think there's going to be any more, like, directs or, like, presentations that are really, like, the kind of... I don't think there's any more of those for the rest of the year, at least ones that I would want to cover. There's not going to be any more State of Plays, there's not going to be any more Xbox, there's not going to be any more Nintendo Directs of any kind, I expect. Or any other... It's really just the Game Awards. That's really about it. And, of course, we're going to do that. And we'll do a predictions video like we normally do. Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess we'll just leave it at that. Stay tuned for the Kirby stream. That's the main next one. And, I guess with that being said, this is Logan59XP. And I will see you guys next time.